You thirsty, ain't you?
Definitely. To a movie, man. Like, it was a pretty good movie too. It's called The Wasp.
And
Um,
yeah, I ain't seen the trailer. Ain't heard of it.
it not too many trailers probably, but it's definitely something I say check out when it comes to streaming.
Hmm.
Um, it stars this lady named Naomi Harris, I want to say her name is, and then Natalie Dormer. She was in Game of Thrones. She was Marjorie Tyrell in Game of
Oh,
Thrones.
okay.
Yeah,
It's
you
funny
know.
you say that because I'm literally halfway through season two because I'm just doing a whole Game of Thrones rewatch right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm on like
But it's a
episode
good
six. So
psycho suspenseful thriller. I
okay.
really enjoyed it with a nice little twist. So interesting movie. Definitely recommend. But let's start off with the Sunday Percy's. And since I guess we started with entertainment and yours is kind of entertainment led. Well, both of ours are entertainment led. Um, I'll let you start.
Mine is just it's a basically a twofer for us, but it's just a trailer of I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, the trailer for Vox Machina or the Legend of Vox Machina season three came out for Amazon Prime. And I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. Obviously, our friend group, we play D&D. So just seeing that immediately, lit the fire again. I'm like, God damn, I need to write a campaign just so we can fucking play again because we've been off literally for like two,
You
three
seen it?
months.
You haven't seen it in the Discord, have you?
I've seen it though. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah. We were supposed to pick up sometime soon.
Hmm.
I think we said Saturdays are a good day to do it. So
Yeah,
whoever wants to DM next, definitely get on board.
yeah. I gotta set everything up because I ran through everything that I had prepared already. Like I had like four basically.
Hmm.
I mean, you were there, you played them all. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'll dedicate some time to it.
Jay or Kevin or Austin even maybe might be even ready to put DM a match, DM a game, a session.
Yeah.
But speaking of X Vox was I keep saying Ex Machina.
Yeah, Vox Machina, yeah.
Vox Machina. Um I've been meaning to watch that. We talked about this before. Like I was like, oh, I've
Hmm.
been wanting to get on like not I guess that's not really technically anime. Would you call it anime in the traditional
No,
sense?
no,
No.
it's
Yeah.
just
It's just
animated. It's
animated.
more,
Just
yeah,
more
yeah.
animated content because I do like animated stuff. Um I still haven't picked up on it. I still need to get through season
Mm.
1. And I've heard great thing about the show. So like definitely need to get on it. And I guess when does season 2 come out?
When did it come out? That was at least 2 years ago.
Or is
Season
this
two
season
came out.
3?
This is
What is this
season
one?
three.
Oh,
Yeah, this is season
when is
three.
season 3 coming out? Then my bad.
Ooh, I'm not sure. I should have put that in the in the doc, but I remember just seeing it and I'm like, oh shit. So
Well,
I'm sure it's probably at the end of the
Percy's
trailer.
while I talk about my Percy's, you figure that out. And my Percy's is football season is here
Hmm.
and all is well. We have college football. We're done with the preseason in the NFL. You know, we're giving college football their official week 1 this week. They had FSU and Notre Dame last week in Berlin. Or not Berlin, somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
Dublin. They were in Dublin because they had
Okay.
Sheamus there. Um, and that's a FSU and Notre Dame, FSU and Georgia Tech.
Okay.
So that you would think it'd be Notre Dame, but no, they
Yeah.
brought Georgia
Right.
Tech. uh, this week I got Stanford and TCU in the background right now. Stanford's first ACC game in the new conference, the realignments. We got NFL starting week 1 next week, so it is all great. Fall time is here unofficially, but football season's back, baby. And I got fantasy drafts on Sunday and Monday. You're on that Monday one, so it's gonna be fun. I'm This is a great time of year. Best time of the year. What's up, activists?
Oh, yeah, our one supporter, she back again. Hey, keep fucking with us, y'all.
Give me the date on when the Vox Machina season 3 comes.
October 3rd. October
October
3rd.
3rd.
Yeah.
We can finally start the show. If I could be quick with it.
Doors opening. Step back to allow customers to exit.
Ooh, I was man.
Fresh fried throw. Your boy Moody off the top rope. This is the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast.
We stroll to the avenue of wrestling. Like push them to like get us that. It's like, where's my artwork, man? Where's my artwork, LA? So, yeah, welcome to a special episode of the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast on Friday, going into Sunday. Not Sunday. Jeez, I skipped Saturday entirely. Going into
6 days in a
Saturday.
week.
Yeah, going into Saturday. That's why I'm on mind when football season's around. I'm like, can we just skip Saturday and just get to Sunday?
Yeah. I mean, I don't care about, college football really. So honestly, when it comes to football, I have that same mentality, honestly. Yeah.
There's teams I care about. It's just a bridge for the most part for me. And to
Mhm.
get to Sunday. So I can watch my team in peace.
Yeah.
Agony. But yeah, tomorrow we got Bash in Berlin, and that's a 1:00 show. And so we are recording early to get this in the way and so out the way so people have enough time to listen to it. The people that are listening to it. We are getting some podcast listens so on the YouTube podcast. So I'm sure once we actually put ourselves officially on all the podcast platforms, we're gonna be major, man. We're gonna be major.
I'm saying it's a matter of time. I ain't got nowhere to be.
Find us, Moody?
Oh, yeah, the socials. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us at Gmail, and you can find us on our Discord, and they're all at the Wrestling Re-Up, all spelled the same way. Like, we're gonna get that trademark too,
no
so
dash,
can't
right?
nobody else get that. No dash, no.
The Wrestling Re-Up.
At
And then
Gmail,
the
on
YouTube
Discord,
is
and
Wrestling
Instagram.
Re-Up. So I might have to adjust that just to be on the same point.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it off the podcast.
For sure.
But let's get into a very stacked week. And there's a lot. There's double pop-ups. We're coming off a pop-up.
Yep.
All in recap. We have to go through that. We have 2 pop-ups this week. We have Bash in Berlin on Saturday, and we have NXT No Mercy. There is actually a 3rd pop-up happening right now in DC, Capital Collision. So, a lot of wrestling happening on the Labor Day weekend. But let's start off with the All In recap. And All In recap, last week we did our record predictions, our predictions for the show. And I did a tally and a total, and Moody, you came out winning a 2nd consecutive pop-up show prediction. You're 2-0 and I'm 0-2. And there's some interesting things that happened. How do we want to go about this? Do we kind of want to go through this through our regular sorting of what we liked, or do we want to call out some of the things outside of it? I think let's just go through how we normally do it because we have a lot to go through. So
yeah, and we don't even got you brought up the other 2 pop-ups at the end of the week, and I'm like, we don't even got that on the Notion. Like, we are looking at that card right now. So it's like we have to bring that up too. But yeah, let's just condense it. We'll just do the usual way.
I'll let you start off.
Yeah, I struggled. I struggled with this, honestly. Mariah May winning the AEW Women's Championship. I struggled with putting this into presidential and I think I still might.
Put it in Did you put it in presidential?
No, it's in Top Shelf. It's in Top Shelf.
Okay,
this is clearly where my misstep was in our rankings prior to, because remember, I was trying to invent a word and it confused the hell out of you. And you were like, you put some shit in presidential, and then it auto-corrected to presidential, and you were like, nah, nigga. This is clearly like where it was leading to, and this is like, I mean, everything that it needed to be. The drama, the acting, And for it to also end with a clean heel win, I think that makes it immaculate. Like nobody interfered. It was all just the story, and I loved every bit of it. So we're gonna talk about Mariah May some more, but that match, the chemistry was great. Like trading hip attacks. Like I
Yeah.
thought that was so funny because Mariah May hits Tony with 3 of them consecutively. And then, when she gets the upper hand, she just hits her with one. And I was like, yeah, Tony got a lot more hip to that hip attack. You know what I'm saying? Like she got a little bit more punch to that, than Mariah does. So I was like, I just thought that was so funny. I had that note in my head. But that was my match of the night, honestly. Like I have that over Danielson winning the AEW championship. Personally,
Yeah.
that's just personal taste. You know what I'm saying? Like I love and also the reason I would put it in presidential is that so far it's the best women's storyline that
You
AEW
have it
has
in
done
top
so
shelf.
far. I know. I'm saying a reason that I would. And like I said, I was
Okay.
struggling with it,
You're
but I have it at
confusing me when you keep saying presidential. I'm like, I see it in top shelf. So where is it?
it
Are
is.
you
We're having a conversation. I'm telling you about how much I appreciate it. And I'm saying
okay?
that's why I brought it back to the point of like when I first misstepped and I was trying to put it like in some new category that didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Just about the turn. But now we're at the end
Okay.
of the road and it was great. It was everything. And I feel just as great about it. So,
Are we at the end of the road?
oh, no, I just mean for this arc of the storyline for sure. Yeah, we're at the end of the road for this point in time. But
Yeah.
of course they're going to come back to blows. Like it's too good of a storyline. You don't let something like that with long-term booking, you know what I'm saying? Like just fade off. I mean, depending on your booking, but like any time that they're going to be back in the same ring together, it's going to be a crazy pop. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I initially had this in Primo, and I moved this up to top shelf because I was like, I debated with it, kind of like how you were like you wanted to put it in presidential, and you eventually like left it in top shelf. I was like, I was
yeah.
in Primo, I was like, kind of want to put it in top shelf, but I was like, as soon as I saw you put it in the top shelf, I was like, I don't have an argument to not really put it. I think what I really liked about the match was the physicality of it.
Hmm.
I thought it was a pretty there was a lot of pile drivers. There's a lot of pile drivers in general throughout the show. I mean, I watched the highlights because I
Yeah.
didn't have all the time to watch through every single thing, but um, just I mean, it's not a problem. Just it was just watching WWE, you don't see a lot of pile drivers. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, but I like the physicality of the match, and I think we both got. Well, who got this? Did I get this right, or who what was the?
I got this right.
You got this
I
right, and
got
I got the.
Yeah, I got the women's matches right, the women's titles matches right, and I got the men's wrong. That's how I remembered it when I looked back at
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I think, it makes sense for Mariah to win as I think about it, after the fact and everything, where I'm like, okay, yeah, this gives Tony that kind of she's on the chase now to get her precious back,
Yeah.
so um it's gonna make Tony, I guess, come off more as a face, and they got in the way I see it, and then Mariah is gonna be interesting to see how she is going to be standing on her own, as a champion. Not just having Tony, but like having everyone come out of her. So that is a separate issue. But as far as just the match itself, I would say yeah, it's up there. And the same thing, I had the same feelings towards the Danielson and Swerve
Hmm.
of like I had it initially in Primo, but then again, I saw you put it in your top shelf, and I was like, you know what? My biggest gripe on the Danielson Swerve aspect was s- the interference by Hangman. I get it,
Yeah.
but I also like the fact that it really didn't cost
Yeah.
Swerve the match. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
Yeah.
as a bigger factor as it was for what I did kind of have in Primo was Osprey beating MJF because I thought the interference in that match took away from a great match that I
You
would have
thought
put in
that?
top shelf.
Yeah. You thought that the Daniel Garcia like took away from it, or the
Yeah, I'll
okay?
well let's talk about Danielson and Swerve, but then we'll get into Osprey and
Yeah, I was just trying to sort out what you were saying. That's all.
yeah. But
Okay.
the interference and what I was saying is the interference in the Danielson and Swerve match was less
Mhm.
impactful than it was in the Danielson in the Osprey and MJF match.
Yeah, for sure.
And by that fact, that's the split of the hairs that I have of why MJF and Osprey is not top shelf and why I have it in primo.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Gotcha.
So like
Yeah.
I'm not that big. Like I get why Danielson wins the AEW title.
Hmm.
I hope Swerve wins it back soon, but it's not happening soon enough. So when I say soon enough, it's not happening at All Out. So
Yeah, that's true.
that's my thoughts on Danielson and Swerve. I'll let you go. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I was just gonna bring up that we both had Swerve, because
Hmm.
it definitely, because All In is their WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm like, I know, like, in my like fandom, like, or my smart fandom mind tells me obviously Danielson is winning, and I think we said that last week, where it's like, well, we just want to see Swerve win because that would be the ultimate like put over, knowing that Brian Danielson
Why
is
did I
still
give
only like
myself
in his
credit
mid
for
40s.
something I didn't say? I said Swerve's winning
I
because
said that. Okay.
you could say that. I'm not switching up.
Okay. Okay. I didn't mean to put words in your mouth, but I knew we were in agreement for at least for the predictions for Swerve to win. But yeah, I'm still happy with it, obviously. Yeah, it's very understandable. I think Swerve's title reign was great. Obviously, we're gonna get to Dynamite later, so he's not like uh my thought was like he would be left open handed, kind of like, all right, what's next for him? You know, when you think about like sitting and catering in WWE or AEW, any company. But
Yeah.
yeah, we immediately got to that with him. So that was my only worry, honestly, and that's why I wanted to see Swerve win, because I was like, man, like there was that like small pessimistic fan of like, man, I just really hope that he doesn't slip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like he had a great reign, so it's like he doesn't slip in my mind at all. But you know, just booking wise, you don't know what the company's thinking. But
I don't think he slips. I think he still looks strong. I think he's still one of their top talents. Probably the top talent. Like he's probably one of their pillars. Like as far as like, who shows that. When he says whose house is Swerve's house, it's like that's Paul Heyman. That's a statement. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like so
no facts, yeah, I agree, he's a pillar of like the main event. Like he is legitimately like I can see like yeah, he is main event Swerve.
like
Like
yeah, him
should
in
be
that
in there for the
match, like
championships and
in
shit. Like
Wembley with
amazing.
Daniel Bryanson, like I said Daniel Bryanson. Brian Danielson has been in that situation. He's been at WrestleMania in the main event, winning
Mhm.
the title and stuff like that. So like him being in Wembley sold out like that, like that's not new to him. And I'm not entirely sure we're familiar with Swerve's entire career. But I can imagine that's probably like a really big moment to be in the main
Yeah,
event of, the show. Sold out Wembley, however many people that fit in that stadium, 80,000, however many it may be. And like you look at home. You know what I'm saying? You didn't look like you were out of place. You were like, "Oh yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be." So
mm,
I don't think he's falling off. I think it's just more, gasoline on the fire.
yeah, yeah. Certainly hope so. But yeah, that was my thoughts on that. Let's the next biggest match, obviously we both agree, is MJF and Osprey. Osprey winning
Yeah.
back the international championship, not the American one. I know you were initially upset about
I
the
still don't
title
like it.
naming. Yeah,
I don't like
yeah,
it.
but it's for the gimmick. You understand it, so it's like, all
What
right,
does
yeah,
that
he's
mean
just
in the
being a
record
douche.
books? I'm trying to figure out what the record books mean. Like
It's
I
still
gotta
the,
look up.
all
I
right,
gotta look up the history of this title
yeah.
belt and see like does this get its own Wikipedia page?
You know what it is? Where I will agree with you. It's probably, if anything, just a dry run for whatever U.S. or American championship they actually do, because we both agreed that that belt was hideous. So they just put some shit out there, and they were like, MJF is fire enough to get this over anyway. So I agree with that. They were probably like, does this look good? And everybody's like, nah, it's ugly as shit, actually.
but I said my thoughts on the Garcia, not the Garcia, but the Osprey MJF match. I mean, listen, the match itself, I thought was great. Like, I thought technically, like, it's probably my favorite match.
Mhm.
Actually, the Trios ladder match is up there too. But like the technicalness and like there's a lot of things within this match that I really like. I thought the match was supposed to be the American title, American MJF versus homegrown, British boy, wherever he's from, like Will Ospreay. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't know Daniel Garcia's and MJF's beef. So that's my personal issue. That's
Ah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it, but I'm like, yo, you interfering has you this is an A-B conversation. You did not need to see your way in this bitch.
all right. Let me
To
fill
me,
in.
I'm just like, I get
Okay.
it. Again, this is my ignorance. So it's more of my ignorance. So like I originally had this in mid, but I'm like, I'm not gonna let my ignorance cloud the, reason for why this happened. I don't understand it because I'm not familiar with the storyline,
Mhm.
but it still doesn't change the fact that like I was more invested in the international championship and the American championship aspect of it. And I'm like, who is this jabroni coming in out of nowhere and interfering in a match that had nothing to do with you? And I get it because it's supposed to make MJF look, come off looking clean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From like, a smart wrestling fans wise perspective, but I just didn't need Daniel Garcia. I please explain to me the lore.
All right. So yeah, I know exactly the lore that you're missing, and this is from about we're at the end of August. So yeah, this is 2 months ago. Um, Daniel Garcia, it's on Dynamite, and Will Ospreay retains his belt, and like I forget who he was defending it against, but this is like when MJF first came back from injury, and he was still being like kind of trying to be a face, basically, and he offered Daniel Garcia a chance to see main event with him at Wembley Stadium and All In, right? And then Will Ospreay is there, and he just defended the belt, and he's like, "Hey, I really like you too, kid. I'll give you the chance to um, face me for the international title, next week." And I think this was right before I think it was it Revolution or Forbidden Door. I forget which pay-per-view it was. But basically that was Osprey calling a shot on MJF because they had a match that weekend. MJF wins the belt and calls it the American Championship and basically beats the hell out of Daniel Garcia out of spite because Will
Okay.
Osprey ruined everything. And it was a malicious attack. Like he gave him like two of his like
Yeah, I
signature,
remember that.
yeah, and he gave him a pile driver off the second rope, and he was like, he tried
Yeah.
to end my career and stuff. So that's why he was there, and
Okay.
we haven't seen him
Okay.
since then.
I that's why I said
So
like I
yeah,
okay. That's starting to come back. It's starting to come back
hmm
now. I remember this now. I'm starting to remember this. That's what I said. I'm not gonna let my ignorance bleed. So I could adjust that and probably put it up at top shelf. But you have it in primo, so why do you have it in primo and not in top shelf?
oh no, I still enjoyed the match. It was just for me, like I guess this goes just to the type of fandom. I guess it's just like because like I look at MJF and Osprey obviously as like I won't say obviously, in my opinion, generational talents, both of them. And I just see that match as like not a whole lot of character. And it's all like we just know we're gonna get like a 5-star, 6-star, whatever Dave Meltzer kind of match out of them. You know what I mean? Like MJF, we know his shtick already. Will Osprey, we know bleeding heart, babyface when we see one, and he's on his home turf. You know what I'm saying? I've seen this story before, that kind of thing. So I think it's really the depending on the story told and the characters telling it, it's just that part that just pushes it more and more forward for me. You know what I'm saying? Like up the charts. Because you can have like a 5-star match on freaking SmackDown or on NXT, like without a doubt. If they have another like 30-minute Iron Man match on NXT, I'm willing to bet that that'll be like 4.5 stars. But did that just come out of nowhere, or was there a story to it? You know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
they did have a story, but like you were saying, like just the American Championship took some wind out of the sails all immediately, and you're like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, but it's just 2 month story. It was good enough. Like, just have these guys go ahead and face off. Like we all wanted to see it. So, and they traded the title back and forth. It's good, and they're gonna come across the AEW Championship in the future
Yeah.
sometime. In each other's path. So for sure.
There will be some interesting things happening. So we'll talk about more about what happened what happened on AEW Dynamite. The other thing that I had in the primo here was the trios ladder match, and this is pretty easy for me. Like,
Hmm.
first of all, it's a great way to start off the show officially because they had like two pre-show matches beforehand, or at least two or
Hmm.
three. But this was a great way to start off the show. This effectively is a TLC match.
Yeah.
I have no problems with that. Um, it's funny because technically, I don't think we ever had. Maybe we had, and past like once we had like the TLC pay per view, maybe we've had 6 man or a 9 man. However many people were in this, like there was like six
Yeah.
teams, 5 teams in this match. Hold on,
Ooh. Yeah.
yeah,
The patriarchy.
patriarchy, Bang Bang, House of Black, Combat Pool. So
4 piece. So 12. So 12 people in this match.
12 people in this match. Yeah, that's in 3-on-3. Like, I don't think we've ever had that dynamic, but man, they made it work, and this was hella entertaining. Just even watching it from the highlights, I'm like, man, what a way to start off the show.
Hmm.
What a way. It would have been. It's probably one of my favorite matches in the card, honestly. Just for like, again, it's easy for me to just get impressed, especially when you get into like a TLC match kind of aspect of it. Um, I was happy that I was right. But
Yeah.
again, like that's not what it's skewing it. Like I thought it did make sense that Claudio, again, he was having a good look recently. Wheeler Yuta had a good look recently. At least on television, you know what I'm talking about. And who was also in that? Pac also had a big look recently. All three of
Yeah.
those guys had big looks recently on television that it just made sense for them to at least be able to carry some gold. And so, um, hell of a way to start off the show. I really enjoyed it. Again, the only reason it's not up there in top shelf is the fact that like it's a TLC match and they're easy. It's easy for me to like TLC matches. Like it's
Yeah.
it's easy. You gotta like really like go like TLC 2
Hmm.
level to be able to get into like top shelf. So that's where I left the trios ladder match. Really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it that much. I mean, I also like the problem that I have with this is that I can't remember any spots, even though I remember enjoying it, like watching it.
Yeah.
And that's why I
That's
had
why
it
I
rated
like
so
the
low.
carnage. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
I like the
yeah,
carnage.
like that's just I just remember like you said, just general carnage, and I remember
Yeah.
enjoying it. Like, but I can't remember one single thing that happened, like
That's
in the
why
whole
it doesn't
match.
get it to that's why it doesn't get to the top shelf. Because like when you think of like
Yeah.
TLC 2, you're like, oh man, like Edge spearing Jeff Hardy off the
Hmm.
holding the belts. Even Jeff
Yep.
Hardy
Right.
just trying to like walk over the ladders. Like the whole match is a series of moments
Yep.
that you're just like, man,
Rhino pushing what, Bubba
Matt
Ray and Matt
and
Hardy
Bubba.
through the four
Yeah.
tables. Yeah. Yep. I remember that. But yeah, that's why I had it in mid. But
Okay. Okay. What else?
yeah, what
So
else?
yeah,
What else?
you okay? That was your. Well, you had TYB retain tag titles as mid as well.
Yeah. I think that was just more so because it was expected for me. I just didn't see where. I mean, you can always put the like when you have like one of the best tag teams ever, like FTR, in a match, you can put the belts on them at any point in time, and I'm always going to believe it. And you can tell a story with them. They're both great on the mic and all that stuff.
Hmm.
the reason that I picked the Bucks was what I said, like, I don't know, maybe a month ago, is that like ever since they've been the EVPs, they haven't, you know, like they flex their muscle and character, but like my dream was for them to just actually run the show and just raise hell, basically just do whatever the fuck they want. And it's kind of like that hope of like, well, there's still more of a ways to go with them. You know what I'm saying? Like with the Acclaim, like and FTR, I just see more so fighting champions as a story versus like a character story as a group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It will just be like furthering feuds that we already know. So that's why I thought it would be more imaginative if we could like stick with the Young Bucks, basically.
It makes sense. Like I said, like I picked the Acclaimed, but I think that was more so just like I saw a lot of their promos recently, and I'm like, okay, like they seem desperate, they seem hungry and stuff like that. But like I don't have much context other than them just cutting their promos. And I'm like, all right, like I like the passion. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll root for you guys in that sense. But it makes sense why they have it, I guess. I mean, it's like again, like one thing you can't say with AEW in general, like the match qualities are for the most part, I know you have a comment in one of your shake, but for the most part, it's good.
Yeah,
It's really good. So like the things like we struggle with is usually just storylines and connecting.
yeah.
Uh but
I agree with that. It's the connective tissue of like stories and characters that's missing, like just
yeah,
throughout like the world of AEW or the
yeah,
AEW universe, you know. But yeah, the match quality can't be uh contested for sure. But because Christian winning the Casino Gauntlet, I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either, and I thought the Casino Gauntlet, I thought it was a great match. I just like again with the what's Luchasaurus name now? Killshot?
Kill switch. Yeah,
Kill Switch or something like that? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like it looked like he was gonna they had beef earlier in the night when they lost the trio titles. And then he comes out, he looks like he's about to do something to Christian. He doesn't, and then he ends up helping Christian win the match. And I'm like, okay, like it's cool. You were correct in the sense that you got Ricochet debuting during the Gauntlet match. That happened. I said that he was going to debut during the MJF match. That didn't happen. So that's why you got the point, even
yeah.
though you
I figured
predicted.
that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. I called it. I said it's extra. It's an extra point for calling out a debut. So
yeah. And then not for
or a
nothing,
return.
like I knew, like because I just had because I mean we both picked Swerve, right? So I'm going
Yeah,
forward in my predictions like Swerve is champion. So that's where I'm like, okay, Hangman's winning, but instead it's Hangman interfering and causing him to lose, and just furthering the feud that way. So it's like I wasn't off. I was just on the other side of the coin. I think that was like a 50-50 I called. That is called tails. You know what I mean?
yeah.
In the same way, sort of. But
But yeah, Christian winning. It's it's funny because I said like last week I was like, what about if Jeff Jarrett won or something like that, and Jeff Jarrett was in the match. Uh, but it's I get it. I get it. Like it's just like does this winning this does it work like Money in the Bank where it's just like anywhere, anytime, or like do they have to
think
like establish the challenge?
I think that's a so I was listening to a Ringer wrestling show. I think it was yeah, Mass Man specifically. And they were talking about this, and it's like, I think so. But like it used to be, so originally it was like you get it at All In, so that means you get the shot at All Out, right? Because that's just simple. That's the sequel to All In,
Yeah.
and now I think like the last two times it's kind of been like, oh, I'm calling it at this pay-per-view or like a Money in the Bank situation. So I think
Okay.
they're making that transition, but that also just ties in like also the originally the Casino Gauntlet was like blackjack, so it was 21 people in it. That they did it like that the first few times. This time they only had 11, I think. So it's like, all right, I think that just rule means it can be as many as 21 is what they're saying. So it's like, can we just get some hard rules? Like I'm in agreement with you. Like we need to get some clarification, like on just all the meaning of this match. it's a great match
Either way,
concept, but you're throwing
either
a bunch of
way,
stuff together, and we just need some clarification. That's all.
I totally agree. I totally agree. But either way, it just means that whoever Christian is going to challenge, he's going to try to get at a personal family level. So do you think it's Daniel Bryan? And like he like uses it on Daniel Bryan and like takes it a family approach. Like whose family is Christian going to attack? That's where I'm like, that's why I have it in mid. It's
Uh,
just boring.
Come on, I'm gonna check this actually because I think
You had a whole
if
entire
I'm
great
right,
match just to leave it to like boring suspense. As far as like anticipation of like who you're gonna be attacking.
I was pretty sure I heard that. I'm pretty sure Daniel Bryan's father passed recently, and that just fits right into Christian's fucking like that just fits into his gimmick. So it's like, maybe it was simple as that, but yeah, that fits in.
Not a gimmick
You
for
know,
me.
he's yeah, that shit is. You know, he's.
You can share your thoughts. We could disagree. Like you don't have to agree all the
Well,
time.
oh no, I'm not even saying I agree with it. I was just saying like I'm still verifying because I was like seeing if he's actually passed or not. But I remember they said that on the pod. That's all. But for
You
Christian,
can
I
look
mean,
that up before you
I
say
like,
it, so I don't have to edit it.
yeah, right. Uh, but yeah, they were saying on the pod that they was pretty sure. I think it was Shoes that was saying that. Hate to be an aggregator right now on our pod, but
Well, anyways, do you have any more thoughts on that on the Casino Gauntlet match?
no, no, I'm pretty good on that. Ricochet looked good enough. Yeah,
Ricochet
for
looked like
like
Ricochet.
yeah, he looked like Ricochet. So I think that's the other note to just definitely hit in that match since that was his debut. But yeah, he looked great, like high flyer, like always.
Yeah, he's gonna fit in really well. Hopefully, they like don't just treat him as like a high flying act that doesn't really have any rising trajectory and career. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of similar to WWE. But if you're getting paid money, again, like who cares? Like doing what
Yeah,
you're doing. So
but so you don't have to edit it. It's the only thing is it wasn't recently. He died 10 years ago. So yeah, Christian's definitely using that. That's a decade ago. Like yeah, that's you're over it. That's probably what Christian's thinking. Like it's fine. Oh, but yeah,
eh,
the last thing that I had for the recap on All In though is it was rough watching uh Britt and Sasha. It
yeah.
was rough.
Yeah.
Like that and that's just one of those times when it's like me as a fan, I'm just like, yes, you're disappointed, but like also being such a fan of wrestling, it's like you know that they're doing their damnedest. So it's like, man, everybody has a bad day at work. You know what I mean? But it's just unfortunate that it's on the biggest stage because it just did not mesh, man. Like I wanted it to work so bad. Like I think well, Sasha had to get her up for you know moneymaker. Like what the first time it was like Britt basically fell off. That she hit her in the stomach and like just tried it again and it looked just say bummy basically just as a whole mechanical like interaction in wrestling. It was just like ugh. But I mean, expected outcome though. Sasha winning.
Yeah,
Or
man, we
Mercedes,
both picked,
excuse me, Mercedes.
yeah, we both picked Mercedes to win that. But yeah, watching the highlights, I'm like, yeah, this is I've read that it wasn't the cleanest and I've heard, commentary afterwards from the show. But then when I watched the highlights, I'm like, yeah, this was definitely not Britt's finest match. Um
Mhm.
I don't know, like, maybe it's still ring rust, get coming back because was she injured? Yeah, she was injured, right?
Yeah. She was a huge return. Yeah, she was injured for sure.
Was it like a knee or a leg
Uh,
injury?
yeah. She was out for like 9 months, something like that. It was definitely lower body injury.
So, like, yeah, I mean, there's gotta
Her
be some
return
ring
is
rust to
when.
that.
Oh,
I don't
sorry,
know
I
how
mean,
much.
interrupt. Go ahead.
There's gotta be some ring rust to that. I don't know how long she's been training and like how much she's been getting out of it. And then again, there's another thing to like how many times has she worked with Mercedes? It's
Hmm.
not like Mercedes was easily available because even when she was, outside of WWE, it was only for so long before she got hurt. So
Yeah.
it's like when you were hurt, when you were healthy, she was hurt, and now when she was healthy, you're hurt. So
Mm.
this is literally their first time really just kind of dancing together. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens in like, a run back, second or third time. But it's I'm still I'm gonna still hold my what does Bill say? His stock
Oh
in
yeah. Oh,
the Brit being the what was my comparison last week? The Cody of the AEW.
oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't remember anything I said last week. You just
Not
in
not in
one
one
ear,
ear
one
out the
out the other.
other. Yep. I already said it before. You see, hey, we still locked in, even though I don't listen to you. So that's
No,
crazy.
no, no,
That's crazy. I
no.
said it
Shut
before you
up.
though.
Shut up.
All right.
We'll
That's all
move
I had for
on.
All In now. I know.
Yeah.
Let's hit.
No,
Let's
well, let
hit.
me see if there's anything that sticks out because I think there was something that. Is there anything that sticked out? I said John Moxley was gonna return. He didn't in at the Casino Gauntlet, but that didn't happen. But we'll talk about Moxley later in the show.
Mhm.
Jack Perry defeated Darby Allin with the help. Well, there was a lot more stuff that was gonna happen. That they looked like they were gonna try to burn Darby Allin when he was
Oh,
in the
were they?
casket. Yeah, you
This is
didn't
the
see
one.
that?
This is the one. This is the one match that I was not able to. I didn't get a single glimpse of this. The only thing that I saw was that Sting came back to help Darby.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So Sting came back. Um, so yeah, I think everything else, yeah, we one of us got it right, one or the other. So that was AEW All In recap. Let's move on to Monday, and we'll start off with some sad news with Psycho Sid slash AKA Sid Vicious passes away, as it was announced by his son. Uh, he passed away 63 with the battle of cancer. R.I.P. Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid. What are your thoughts on Sid Vicious? Do you have any memories?
I personally do not, other than like being an early wrestling fan and seeing his highlights. I don't come into wrestling like I said to you before until like '99, like 2000 ish, maybe like '98. I probably get some early wrestling in there, but not like I said paying attention to stories or anything. But I mean, a loss is always hard to deal with. So I was just happy that, like, especially in wrestling, because usually when you hear a wrestling death, it's never like peaceful the way that this
Mhm.
happened. His son putting out uh, this tweet and saying, I'm deeply saddened to share that my father, Sid Udy, has passed away after battling cancer for several years. He was a man of great strength, kindness, and love, and his presence will be greatly missed. We appreciate your thoughts and prayers as we grieve this loss. Details for the memorial service will be shared soon. Thank you for your support. And from what also I understand, I think Wrestle Talk covered and said that he passed in his home, like literally in his sleep. So it's like you can't ask for a better way. And the other pictures that were posted was just him being a grandpa, and I thought that was, if anything, I thought that was very, I mean, well, just very sweet in general, because my image of, Psycho Sid, like I said this before, just a giant hoss of a man, like,
Yeah.
6'7", that striking blonde hair, power bombing people. And it's like, but you see him in his old age holding his grandkids, and it's like, he like everybody else, you know what I'm saying? So rest in peace. Condolences to the Udy family.
Yeah, man. Like Psycho Sid was, I knew him as Sid Vicious because first time I seen him, because I used to watch WCW before WWE or WWF at the time, and I
Mm,
remember he was like one of the first people that like I remember seeing, and obviously I not knowing, but like Sid Vicious was much more, I guess, the guy in WWE or F at the
mm,
time, like before he went to WCW, but you could see as a kid, like when you see him for the first time, you understand like this guy is intimidating and scary. You know what I'm saying? He is
yeah.
he was like Goldberg before Goldberg almost. It was like, who is this guy? This guy's insane. Psycho definitely fits him. Sid Vicious, all the titles fit him well. He used to be previously, I believe it was a baseball player before getting into wrestling. And so,
Okay.
there's a bit of a transition. So that's why you see like he's not the best wrestler, but that's when again, like he has the wrestling physique and
Absolutely.
appearance. Like he looks like a wrestler, like a typical monster of a wrestler. And Sid Vicious again, like I was always a fan. Always a fan. Like again, I wasn't deep in the lore, but just kind of like again, just being like that was the guy that like, you talk about one of the monsters of wrestling. I'm like, yeah, you don't sleep on Sid. Don't sleep
Yeah.
on Psycho Sid. So even going back and watching like earlier episodes of Raw back in like 93, 4 and 5 and then seeing his entrance, it was really dope. He had the whole pyro and everything with his name spelled out. Really dope. So sad to see Sid Vicious pass away, but again, I think again, anytime you could pass away peacefully and be with your family and not have the numerous tragic deaths that we've ever heard about through wrestling history. That's the best you can hope for. So, RIP Sid Vicious, you will be missed.
Absolutely.
Let's move on into the flagship store of Raw. And it's the go home week for Bash of Berlin. We got a lot to get through. So, I guess we could be kind of quick about this. So, we agreed that Bronson Reed, Tsunami, Braun Strowman on a car was our primo for the show.
Absolutely. And the only thing I didn't put it on there, I was gonna put it on there, but I didn't even want to not to say that you would steal it, but I thought it was just a good take that like, yo, Bronson Reed's Tsunami is like probably like right now, probably the most terrifying thing that you can take. Like just you know what I mean? The as much as they put that over with Seth and stuff, and
Yeah.
like now with Braun and shit, it's like that's probably your worst case scenario, like on the roster. And I'm thinking about Jacob Fatu also. Like it's them. It's like taking Tsunami from Bronson Reed or taking one of those triple springboard fucking moonsaults, from Jacob Fatu or the top two. Like absolutely not. You're killed. Like the
I
second
think
that
what makes the
happens.
Tsunami interesting, and I don't know if this is going to be part of his like finishing moveset, but like I feel like he has to hit it more than once.
He
Because
definitely does.
if you
Oh,
think
go
about
ahead. Go
like
ahead.
it's
Sorry.
a tsunami, right? It's like a
Okay.
wave
Okay.
of things. So it's like it only makes sense for you to hit it more than once.
Okay. No, I see where
You
you're
know what I'm
going
saying?
with
Like
that. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
the way he comes off the ropes and lands on you, he could just easily just roll out, get back up, and then hit it right back again. That's the
Mhm.
tsunami is being hit.
Yeah.
It's not just one time. That's just a
Yeah.
splash. The tsunami is the effects of it getting 3 times dropped on your chest. That's the
Yeah.
finisher. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I
So
see what you
like,
said. Like the first one is like the tidal wave. That's all it is.
yeah.
That's the first one. It's like you got to add it up. Okay. I can dig
So
that. Like
like,
you get hit, you got hit by a 3 cycle tsunami or some shit. Like whatever the terminology is, just
yeah, like
Michael Cole
saying like
saying that shit.
he hit Seth Rollins with the 6 cycle tsunami.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We calling them cycles. That's what it is. How many
There you go.
cycles? How many cycles? Or what did they say in? You haven't watched Twisters. Well, you've seen the first Twister. So what do they call them in Twisters?
What supercells? Like I don't know, supercell storms. Like
You just
they're on
guys,
the.
we're killing time. We're killing time. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
you lead me down. No, no, we staying here, nigga. You lead me
no.
down this arid ass path. You expect me to understand this reference from 1996 in a movie I haven't seen. But all right, no, yeah, we'll move ahead. I just want to point that out.
I'm pretty sure we talked about Twisters, the movie, recently on the phone. So either way, we're moving forward. My point with Bronson Reed, I like this a lot because you would think when he's going against Braun Strowman and that whole sequence happens last week, you're like, okay, this is the feud for Bronson Reed. Braun Strowman's got to be out for at least a couple weeks now, right? Like
the,
putting
I
him
would
through
say
a
is that
car,
if
it's
that
like I
was
would assume he's out for a
that
couple weeks, and then if that's the case, it's like that just further cements Bronson Reed's badassness.
absolutely. I would say I absolutely agree. I would say only the reason I was biting my tongue as you were talking right there was like, only because Braun is Braun, only because he's 400 pounds. Like if that was any other man, yes. But if Braun comes back next week and he has like tape and shit on him, I believe it. Just because they're like both super heavyweights, you know what I mean? But I agree that it was absolutely devastating. There's no way that if he did come back, that he's not selling the shit out of it. Like he'll just be like, I can see him right now being backstage on the warpath trying to get a piece of Bronson. You know what I'm saying? So, but if he's
I would
gone
like to
for
see. I
weeks,
would like to
I
see.
agree with that.
I would like to see Braun Strowman gone for a couple weeks.
He just came.
Not anything wrong with the character. I think not anything wrong with Braun Strowman. Did I say Bronson Reed? I meant Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
I
I know what
want
you
to see
meant.
Braun Strowman. That's why they need to change these dudes' names up, bro. I want to see Braun Strowman away from television for a couple weeks just to kind of put over. Because again, like you would think this would lead into a feud, but if he's
Yeah,
able to just wipe Braun Strowman off 1 week after getting confronted, it's like okay, this is a different problem.
yeah.
My one gripe on this, and it wasn't enough to drag it down to a mid, but it nearly did. But WWE's production has been on point for most of the year, so I'll give them a pass. But they can't help themselves from pulling back their old early 2000s bag of tricks of pyrotechnics. I hate the fact that the fucking inside light of the car popped. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah, like after Bronson Reed jumped on him, and then it's like the little light that hangs in the middle
it.
of the car when you open the door. Yeah, that pops open like like
That causes a
pyrotechnics,
spark. Yeah.
like pyrotechnics in a what you call it. The car's not even on. Are the keys on? Come on
No,
now.
it was not.
Y'all can't help yourselves for just like we gotta show some effect. That
Yeah.
is so 2000s, like when somebody falls on like the speakers next to the stage, and then it's like, I'm
Yeah,
like, come
yeah,
on
yeah.
now.
And now
So
that you point that out, like, because they missed an opportunity where they could have added an effect of like, why didn't the alarm go off? How old was that car? That
that's what I'm saying.
all that
At least
body weight?
have
Because
better, just
that
at least have
alarm should have
better
went off.
effects. If
Yeah,
you're gonna
the
try to
alarm.
make it realistic, don't give me the little sparks. Have the alarm go off. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. That's the problem. But not enough. Not enough to drag it down. We spent too much time on that. Let's move on to the let's move on to the next.
I got. Let's go with Uncle Howdy, the Uncle Howdy debut. Uh, well, not debut, but in ring debut against Chad Gable. Had that in my mids. Went exactly how I wanted it to go. I mean, not super long. I think the match went what, like 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes.
Something like
Appropriate
that, yeah.
TV time match. Yeah. So once again, just like another building block on the feud. It's just good to see him, actually get active. And the thing that was super evident about the match and just stood out drastically was like, God damn, that wig watch was so bad.
Yeah.
Like that was so bad on the mask, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to fix that. That's the only thing I would change about it. But it was really bad. Like props to Apartment needs to get that mask together.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I mean, I had it in my shake, but yeah, I mean, it was just nice to finally see some in-ring debut. I hope this thing. I know we fantasy booked a lot last week, but at this point, I'm just like, what do y'all? Can we like move forward with this, or at least kind of like speed this up a little bit?
Yeah,
This is dragging a little bit. This wide six Gable feud, whoever he's feuding with Gable. So I need them to kind of speed some of this a little bit up. I think they're dragging their feet a little bit. So nice to finally see Howdy get in the ring after 19 months, because I feel like I heard on recently on the what was it, the Masked Man show, they were talking about what's Uncle Howdy's real name?
oh, Bo Dallas. Yeah.
Well, his real name,
Oh,
Taylor. Taylor Rotunda. That's what
Oh
everybody
yeah, yeah. Okay,
was
yeah.
saying, that he had like neck surgery or something like that. And so he was out
Mm.
for like 19 months or something like that. So this is like, a pretty big moment for him to have his first match after so long for being hurt. But
Well,
yeah,
congratulations to him because that's important context. That's very important context if it's your first match in over a year and a half. So
yeah. He didn't think he was gonna be able to wrestle again. So
mm,
my mids rising for both Randy Orton promo. I thought that was
mhm.
really well done. I like how he kind of got personal and talked about the history. It kind of leans more into like I don't think he's gonna win coming up. Spoiler, but I do think it kind of leads into like I think Randy's gonna break Rick's record.
Okay.
I think he's gonna be the one. I think there's gonna be a John Cena, Randy kind of back and forth to kind of be that person. But I think said and all be done. I think everybody wants Randy to break it.
Mm.
And
But yeah, he's the one who hasn't left, so at least
Randy
not
has
yet.
the connection with Rick. You know what I'm saying? Like it just ties up the evolution, Triple H. Like I think Randy is the one. And I think Cena probably wants Randy to be the one to do it too.
I mean, yeah,
So
he's the only one in contention. So yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a crazy thought. You know what I mean?
but
But
I do think we get something. I do think this will the outcomes of Bash Berlin, I think, will start to unravel Randy Orton from this jovial guy that we've seen
mhm,
to the Randy Orton that we've known for a while.
yeah,
That
the
we've
real
that
Viper,
we yeah.
yeah, for sure. I can see that for sure. I mean, he's been face for a while now, so and we were already talking about like when he before a few weeks ago when he jumped over to Raw for this storyline. We were talking about Randy possibly jumping Cody also for that exact same reason. So yeah, like it's definitely on his plate going forward. I would imagine we know Cena's coming back for like what 1 more year. He's given us 1 year left, so it's like they're guaranteed to mix it up again. Um, what? Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I was gonna say, what if the title is there? Like Cena comes back and Randy has the title at that point in time. That'd be awesome. Um,
Well, Randy's got to what? Like he's what? They're at the same 16 apiece or 15
nah,
apiece.
Randy has 14. I think Randy has the same as Triple H. And Cena, I know Cena has 16 because he's tied with Ric Flair.
I'll let you look that up, but I mean, I think that's gonna be Randy's story because Randy he also just signed an extension that takes him out to like 2029. So
Yeah,
like Randy's gonna be here.
14
So like
times, 10-time WWE, 4-time heavyweight
so he needs to win 3 more times.
to break it. Yeah.
So he could he's gonna be desperate. He's gonna lose to Gunther, and then he's gonna come looking at Cody and be like, "You gave Kevin a title shot. Why not me?
Yeah, right.
You scur? You scur, Cody?" So we'll start seeing the OG Viper.
Yeah, the apex predator. Mm.
Yeah. So my other mid rising, P Dunn advances in the IC tournament. Um, again, just like P Dunn, just getting licks, man. Now, what happens next week? Well, I know there's things supposed to be a fatal 4-way because we're supposed to have 2 more title intercontinental triple threats next week.
Yeah.
I know Dominic is in one of those matches, and then I don't know what the other match is if that's been scheduled or not. But right now we have Jay Uso and Pete Dunne. Maybe we might get Dominic, depending on who's in the other matches as well. But um, man, like right now, like I guess you could get Jay Uso in the finals to face off against Braun Breaker. But
Oh, are you talking about calling a shot between those two? I mean, that I think
Probably
Jay is
Ilya,
one.
probably be one of those.
Ilya is going to
Probably
be in
Ilya.
one of those triple threats for sure. Yeah.
And then, like I
But,
said, I'm trying to think who the fourth would be.
mm,
Maybe Sammy?
Sammy, yeah, he was most recent, so makes sense if he wants to get another shot at the title back.
Your NXT call up?
Yeah, maybe like it'd be cool to just see Trick up there. Like Trick, you could throw him up there.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
You get Trick versus Pete in that match, and then you get
Hmm.
what's that? Ilya Dragunov versus Jey Uso. A little interesting four way.
Yeah,
Maybe
for sure.
Odyssey. Maybe Odyssey Jones.
Mm,
Because Kofi and Xavier were both in those matches, so it only makes sense
that
Odyssey Jones be in it.
yeah, he
So
fills one of those gaps.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be interesting to see who how the rest of it plays out. But right now, like Jey Uso, good match. Felt pretty obvious that he was gonna be the one that came out winning in that one. It seems like he's the easy favorite to pick in to win this, at least the tournament that we're going through right now. Um, but Pete Dunne beating who's in that match? I gotta recall. It was Pete Dunne, The Miz, and I want to say Pete Dunne, The Miz, and Xavier Woods.
Xavier
So
Woods.
it could have been interesting to see Xavier win. Miz is definitely trying to be a little bit more credible because he's going back to that, like, people need to start taking me seriously again, and I'm not a joke. So
Yeah.
um, glad to see Pete win. I rambled a little too long. I'll let you finish this off with the shake.
I just had it. I guess I should be calling that part three, but it's Judgment Day and the Terror Twins part three. Just keeping the story going for the go home show. But I thought it was a great. I mean, over the course of a show, you get a beat down in the beginning of the faces,
Yeah.
and they rise from the ashes. You know what I'm saying? 2 versus 5. See me, like, don't give a fuck. And then you end with a Riptide and a South from Heaven. Like, I think it was JD that takes the
Mhm,
Riptide. Yeah.
mhm.
So it's always sick, whenever you got a woman of that size, working with the guys. So I'm personally all for that. But
Yeah,
over the course of the show, I thought it was great. Just build for the Bash at Berlin that we'll get to.
yeah. I like the Terror Twins. I think it's dope that like Jamie and Rhea are like still connected, and I think that'd be cool if that was a thing that like lasted beyond
Mhm.
this feud. It's just like, oh yeah, like Rhea and Damien, they're always cool. Even if Rhea
Yeah.
got her own thing over here and Damien doing his own thing over here, it's like if they see something happening with one another, it's like they always got each other's back. So we'll see if that plays out like that. But I like that they're still connected.
Yeah.
Want to move next door to the bodega?
I do. I'm done with Raw.
I'll let you start off with the bodega since you have the highest grading.
Oh yeah. In the primo, it's just another Joe Hendry concert. Uh, it was specifically what put it in primo was just specifically the lyrics and content of the song. And like, I'm sure you saw it obviously, but the
Yeah.
just having the slideshow of him, like, I think he was basically like half naked up there, like working out and stuff.
Mm.
Like, with I just thought that was so funny. And he had the whole crowd singing along with him. He's so over. There's no other word for him other than that. I think it is perfect timing for, like, if this is a very short stint for Joe Hendry and we're just captured by him, then this would be like, I would guess, probably like the end of the lease, the Joe Hendry lease for now. So I look forward to just seeing him, man. But even the confrontation I thought was great. He was able to get, his standing ovation off, his finisher off on him by the end of the night too, when he came out there and confronted him. I love it. And also, I was sitting there like watching him do it, and obviously they put over the finishing move names, and I'm pretty good at committing them to memory. And I was still like trying to like see it as like I'm like, what is this finisher? Because it's just a modified choke slam, and then it snapped to me. I'm like, oh, this is a showstopper. That's the same thing Big Show did. That when it was just like an elevated. He's so big that he's just able to palm your body. Basically, was the point of it. But it's like, man, I forget. Joe Hendry is 250 pounds. That's a big fucking guy. So it's like, it's cool to see him like pull a finisher off like that, and it's very convincing. Like he does it very well. But just the whole segment, I enjoyed. Like Ethan Page can't handle anybody disrespecting him anyway. All ego, it's in his name, and he's great. He's great as NXT champion. I love his character.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like concerts, cool. Like, I think you gotta be like really good on the mic and singing and like really have it's hard to have a concert in like a place like NXT. You gotta have it
Mhm.
like in a stadium, an arena where like
Mhm.
you could really like get over with the crowd. But overall, I mean I had the overall, I guess I ended it with Trick being named a special guest referee at
Yep.
No Mercy for their match. So I had that part of it in shake. But yeah, overall I thought it was a pretty good segment. Joe Hendry doing Joe Hendry stuff. And so
Mhm.
we'll we'll talk about if we believe in Joe. I think you said you don't believe in Joe Hendry winning uh on Sunday, but we'll see if I agree with you or not. Um you're silent, so I'll move to my
Yeah.
to
I don't
my
want. I don't want
mid.
to say. I don't want to mid in. I mean, we're gonna make the predictions later. That's why I was silent. I thought, yeah, let's transition.
I'll go into something that we agree on at mids, and that's Wendy Chu. And well, I have Wendy Chu and Rosemary. You have Rosemary's debut. I don't know much about Rosemary, but I thought just her appearing and I thought her appearance really came off really well on NXT. Um, she looked really dope. The match was pretty dope. Um, Again, I don't know. It was an introduction to me, but I think when you pair it with Wendy Chu, it kind of makes all sense. So I was here for it. I thought it came off really well. So, but I'm
uh,
intrigued to see
okay.
how that plays out. I'm just intrigued how I see it plays out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just semantics. The way that I type it in there. That's. I mean, we're talking about the same segment. It was
Yeah,
just. I don't know anything about Rosemary either, other than she's from a faction called Decay. But
yeah,
yeah. I just the thought that I did have. Man, it's a different subject. Actually, I'll hold that for later. But the only thing is that once again, I don't know if they've worked together. It was just another somewhat slow match. You know what I'm saying? I think it was
yeah,
really just Rosemary, adapting to NXT. That seemed very obvious in the match. But other than that, it was fine. Glad to see her, you know.
yeah.
And
It looked good.
also for context, like you remember Sanity in NXT.
Hmm.
She is basically, yeah, Nikki Cross, like of Decay. They're supposed to be
Okay,
like they're like half zombies or something. I don't know if they're zombies,
okay.
but that's all. That's her
Kind of
character.
reminds me a little. Kind of reminded me of a little bit of Ruby Riot.
Oh yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
I guess yeah, kind of that colored hair punk look. I could see that. Just same
Yeah,
aesthetic for sure. Yeah.
or
Um.
maybe a little shotsy. Yeah, just
Yeah.
throw them all in a blender and
Yeah. You come out with a different one.
yeah.
That's like what I was saying about that four-way women's match last week on NXT was like, hey, they were the Power Rangers, like they're just all different forms of each other. I can't tell them apart. But for me in my other mids, I just had I love Javon Evans, man. Like I thought it was
Yeah.
a really good match. He did lose to Joe Coffey, but
Mhm.
he's part of a faction, his brother and Gallus. You know what I'm saying? What else did we expect? Like all three of them, like Javon Evans is 120 pounds soaking wet. So it's
Yeah.
like, man, but
Gotta get some hair on your
he
chest.
exactly. And I think he knocked some hair on his chest. Like he probably like the way he hit him, his 360 clothesline. I think it's called Best of the Bells, his finisher. But yeah, they work together. It's the combination of the impact and the sell. So it was just like, God damn, Javon. That was like, You fucking, I love a good flip, just from a simple clothesline. So,
Yeah.
yeah, great match. Javon's the sky is the limit for him. Also, I know we're both like super high on him, right? Like his
Oh
potential, he's
yeah,
like
yeah,
20. Like, man,
yeah. I was like, he had me when he was kirking off on Ego Page, talking about, boy, I'll slap your dumb ass out if you keep talking that smack. I'm like, okay, yeah, you can tell this kid just a kid.
right?
I like it. I like it. It just it comes off as authentic. So like, it's like keep being you, young kid, young buck. That's a real young buck right there. Not those old
Yeah.
guys. Not those old white guys on AEW.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, mutton
Middle-aged
chops and
white,
shit.
those middle-aged white men on fucking with mutton chops and mullets. Uh I will start this off because I guess I'm a little higher on this, but you I don't I agree with you. I don't believe Wesley.
Hmm.
I don't believe it. Like maybe it's just like maybe it because he's just still working through his I it just doesn't come off as believable on the mic. He just sounds like he's reading a script. And this
Yeah,
kind of gets into my other
yeah,
shake. I think this would be better. NXT will be a good fit on CW.
yeah.
It would be their best quality product that CW has
Hmm.
as far as storytelling. I think with USA, there's a bit of a mismatch. Not saying USA puts out like the most like high brow content ever, but like NXT is still it's still development. People are still kind of working through their storylines or working through their characters and things of that nature. So it's a little rough. It's a little cheesy. And I think this works a little bit better on a CW than it does on like a USA. Plus,
Yeah,
CW is still network. You can still pick that up on an antenna. So like that's the biggest thing to not sleep on with NXT and why it would benefit them on being CW. So overall, I say that I don't believe Wesley, and I think a lot of it just comes down to like I don't know if he knows how to be a heel. He needs to work on his heel promo work.
absolutely. The reason I got it in Reggie is because nigga, you contradicted yourself. Like this don't make sense to me. Like when he initially turned on him, he said, "You left me here." Like that's what he was yelling in his face. Was like he
Yeah,
had abandonment issues and shit. And then in the promo, trying to sound badass, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show you why this WWE superstar is just gonna beat a TNA wrestler." And I'm
yeah,
like, "Nigga, you don't want to be here." Like from 2 weeks ago, you was all sad and shit. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand where he's going with this, and I think that lies in with like you said, maybe the writing or just like his delivery of those lines. Like you said, it definitely feels like not believable. Slash, like, wait, what's your issue again? Which is why it's in
exactly.
Reggie for me.
No,
I'm like, bro, what are
I
you
think
doing
you
here?
you hit the nail on the head. What's his issue? Because I think you hit the nail on that. He contradicts himself because I think what happened. I think it is bad writing because
Yeah,
I think they saw how well that Future Endeavored line went off last week, and they just keep doubling. They're just doubling down on it.
yeah,
And it's like that's not the storyline. The storyline is not him being in WWE and them being in TNA. Like if that was the case, then that should have been made clear from the jump. But that wasn't the
right.
case. The case was like, "You left me." He was crying, and
Bitch
now it's
ass.
like, "Oh, now I'm in the WWE, you in TNA." And it's like, "Bro, like your Future Endeavor line worked last week. This week, that's not the root of your beef.
Yeah,
Maybe you just need to go to therapy and just, stop being immature." I don't know, but
yeah.
I
He need to
agree with
figure some
you.
shit out. Yeah,
Like,
that's why it's in Reggie for me. That just like literally took me completely out of the
I'm
story
being
where it's
kind, but I
like,
could put it in Reggie because like it just didn't and I'm like, I'm not like they still comes off he comes off as like they're still friends and he's just kind of like he doesn't believe what he's saying.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
believe he believes what he's saying. So sorry, Wes. Sorry, Wes.
yeah. You Reggie for this week. That's all.
That's 2 weeks in a row for you, I think. or at
No, I
least
think he was. I think it was
oh,
just Shake last week. It
you
was
had
just Shake last
you
week.
had him in Reggie a couple weeks ago because you were like, I don't. It was something similar to that same statement. I'm gonna look back on it real quick.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, if he could like, oh yeah, because no, I was saying that like, I don't think I put it for Reggie, but I did say that like his initial turn like was real corny to me, and it wasn't believable. Like even when it was happening, because he was like twisting his eyes up in his head like he was the Undertaker before he like ran
yeah,
and gave the double knees to him on the steel steps. That's what I was like complaining about. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like he already down on there. You don't need to do all this. Like he trying to like foam at the mouth and stuff. Like he was a savage. And I'm like,
you had
bro,
the
like,
Wesley heel turn as a mid, and then
yeah. Yeah, that's like
yeah,
I've been there.
and then you put his explanation as Shake. So this is you're
Yeah.
faster on the downgrade than I am right now.
Yeah. Like it's just
You're ahead of the
gotten
curve.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, that shit
All right.
tracks though. Look at that. Like I'm actually going in order. Like, hey, I'm giving you a chance, my nigga. And like this storyline is just getting worse, honestly.
Hey,
Like, but
I'm right there with you. Like I said, I could be convinced being Shake, not Shake and Reggie, but I guess I'm being a little bit more lenient because I'm like, this is his first time being a heel in my eyes. So I'm like, all right, this is what development's for.
yeah, exactly.
Anything else you want to pick up at the bodega?
No, I'm straight. We covered everything.
Let's take it
Everything
to
I
your
need to cover.
spot. Let's take it to your spot.
Oh yeah, Dynamite. Dynamite this week on Thursday. You had a lot that matched up. I mean, this was really just like a everybody catch a breath from All In episode. Neither one of us had anything even in Primo. So it was just like
I thought it was
everybody.
still a good show though. I still thought it was a
Yeah.
pretty like good show for like a show. You got 2 weeks before you have your next pay per view. Like this is a pretty decent show.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, yeah, we both got.
Yeah, sure.
Well, this
So
is. I'm pretty
dismissive.
sure. Well, no, because I'm not. The reason why is because I'm pretty sure this is the first show I've ever had two Reggies for, like on a single show.
Oh,
So that's the reason I express it that way. But um, granted, those could just be Shake. I may be being harsh. I literally did just say that. It was a take a breath. Episode.
yeah.
So but anyway, uh, like we already said, Brian Danielson is the champion. His promo, he's giving, his open challenge. He's gonna be a fighting champion, like we know him to be. Anybody who wants some can come get some, as John Cena would say. And we get Jack Perry up on the screen. How'd you feel about that after defending his title?
It's funny. I was indifferent about it, but then like again, I've seen a lot of Jack Perry kind of dialogue across this week. So like I started at an opinion. I'm like, I'm not sure. But then now I'm like, hey man, I think it's kind of similar to Jada Parker, where it's like
Mm,
you definitely won't win, but it's not supposed to be about you winning. It's about can you shine when the lights on you.
yeah.
Can you prove that you can like be believable that like, oh yeah, I can see Jack Perry winning the title. That's
Hmm.
all you need to do. That's all you need to do. He's young. He's like what, 24?
But yeah, something like that. He's a
So
puppy for
like
sure.
he's young. So like he doesn't need to win it. But what you need to do is make people believe you can win it. The same thing, go back. Undertaker, Jeff Hardy, and that ladder match back on Raw. Like '02. It's like Jeff Hardy wasn't gonna beat the Undertaker for the undisputed title. But Undertaker nearly made him look like he was about to beat him, and then Undertaker gave him that props, and it was like, yo, Jeff could win the heavyweight championship one day,
Yeah.
and it
Just
happened.
need to have that moment. Yeah, you just need to have that
So it's
moment. You need to
like
have that glimmer. Yeah.
I mean I wasn't initially there, but there's some intrigue. I'm a little disappointed it's not Swerve getting this rematch
Hmm.
in his home state against another home state guy. You would think,
Yeah.
two Washington State people will get their look back in Washington, but That's not happening. But
Yeah.
overall, I'm not too I, I'm not I'm not I'm not too disappointed with Jack Perry.
Yeah, I'm not upset with the decision at all either. Really, I mean, we don't have time to build it, but immediately seeing him, I did think, oh, okay, this is a good pairing, just like you were saying. Like, all right, can you just get the rub and like hang with Daniel Bryan in a serious situation, and then also carry the story? But the reason that like my after I sat there for like 10, 15 seconds and I'm processing seeing Jack Perry, it's like, oh yeah, the elite pops in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, well they can fuck some shit up. You know what I'm saying? Interfere, whatever, make it more believable. But like, yeah, we only got another week, so not really. But that thought did pop in my head. So we might get some elite interference in that match, though.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, again, I can see it just being a straight up match.
Yeah.
And
Oh
like
yeah.
I
I
can
would
see
hope
the
it's just
elite
that.
just be like, I see you tried. Maybe next time get a little hair on your chest. He's like, I already got enough hair on my chest.
Yeah. Right. That's been my whole gimmick. I'm the scapegoat. I'm covering myself in hair. You don't see how hairy I am right now.
Yeah, you know what we mean. We know what you mean. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought it was an interesting. There's a lot of dialogue. So I saw somebody compare like Jack Perry on to Roman Reigns because apparently like people didn't like his promo. They thought it was weak. Like
Ah.
that it wasn't a strong promo, or at least whatever package that they put out, right?
Hmm.
And somebody had put up a clip of Roman Reigns at the same age as Jack Perry, and it was like a clip of Roman Reigns at FCW. And I'm like, I get the point that person is trying to make, but I'm like, FCW was like regional. Nobody was like really watching at FCW. So again, the opportunity for you to be bad allows it for it, right? It is literally developmental. You are
Yeah.
doing this on AEW Dynamite, the flagship show. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we doing? This is not the area for that. So that would be my argument. But again, somebody else also pointed out it's like, yo, Triple H was like 24-year-old when he did this thing. And I'm like, yeah, man, like sometimes all you need to do is just give somebody a chance. They don't need to win,
Yeah.
but you give them the opportunity to make it like to give people a chance to believe. Again, Jericho winning the title against Triple H for like 15 minutes
Hmm.
gave people the idea that Jericho could be champion in the WWE. And eventually he became the first person to unify those titles. So all it takes, he's 24 now. We'll see what happens when he's 27.
Yeah. Right. Prime.
Right.
Prime.
So
um. Yeah. What's your next pick? What you want to get to?
I'm going to talk about Ricochet's Dynamite debut, the Osprey tease, and Pac. I thought all of that was done really well. I have it as mid rising. Obviously Ricochet just being Ricochet, like wrestling wise, just Ricochet being Ricochet. Like I hope that doesn't come off as dismissive. That is like with the most appreciative, you know, ness of that I ever have for Ricochet because it's just like dude makes it look so easy and to have
Right.
partners to be able to do that like are not trying to get over because it's all about profit. I mean, it's profit in AEW, but WWE is such a machine, so he kind of
Yeah.
gets stuck into this kind of thing. But I thought Ricochet looked great. I like the fact that Osprey comes out and there's like this little bit of tease between like Ricochet and Osprey, and then all of a sudden Pac comes out of nowhere and then bop. And then Pac is like, yo, you gotta get in the back of the line, Chief.
Yeah.
And it's my turn right now. This is my meat. This is my issue right here first. So I like that because it shows that AEW has, to whatever degree, I don't know how long they'll have it, but they have some restraint.
Hmm.
Because I feel like in the past they just would have automatically went straight to Osprey and Ricochet.
Yeah. For the title. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that like Pac came out and it was like a former WWE guy comes out and he's like, "Nah, Chief, this is a different lay of the land." He didn't say it to that extent, but like, this is a different place. And
Even if
you
you
just
take the
got here.
WW.
Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. Sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, even if you take the WWE out of it, for extra context, a former international champion too. Like he wants that title back
Yeah.
too, for sure.
Yeah. I'm saying like that's what I'm saying. Like he has like the history. He has a
Mhm.
whole bunch of stuff. You just got here. You're not just gonna come in here and then just that's where again, that's what I need more from Tony. It's like you
Yeah,
don't need to have everybody from WWE automatically just put into the main event scene or the main title matches and stuff like that. It's like, nah, man, like the Pox been here and they got story. I don't care if he won a trios type championship match. He's still got a story that he want to finish off, and it's like, nah. I'm glad that I should put this in primo, but again, I want to see how it plays out. I want
yeah,
to see how much restraint they have. But right now, the fact that they're showing any type of restraint is a positive for me. So
yeah.
that's why it's surprising.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, immediately after, because like even before Ricochet went there, like the number one like dream match was already Osprey. So yeah, just the fact that we have Pac come out there, I'm just like, oh shit, yeah, like let's remember like this is. I mean, I know like he calls like a whole pay-per-view wrestle dream, but like Tony Khan is us. He's just doing dream matches together, right? And it's like, oh yeah, if you want to just talk about high flyers and athleticism, like just that Pac and fucking Ricochet by itself
Yeah.
is a dream match. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want to see that. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree with you. Obviously, you don't need a title shot immediately, but I just realized my crutch word is obviously. I say that a lot. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Pac Ricochet. I didn't think he would be necessarily slotted um in the. It's funny to think about it as like I could just say mid card division. You know what I'm saying? Because there's multiple mid card championships that they have that they're all like rotating around. I just didn't picture him being in the international one. I would have gone more continental because I just think the rub of him with the elite would have been way more of a direct like AEW, like, all right, we're throwing him in the trenches and like getting the WWE stink off of him kind of thing, maybe, if that's how you want to look at it. Because these are like the guys. So I would have liked to see him against Okada. I think that's definitely a dream. That's such a difference in styles. And I don't think there's any way he would win that match, but I would love to see it for sure. So I'm excited for Ricochet.
Hey, I mean, that's why like it's good to have him go through and get these battle scars. It's kind of the same thing we asked about Cody, right? It's like, man, you can't just immediately just come here and just have 4 matches and then knock off Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
Nah, you gotta get some battle scars, B. You gotta go through Brock Lesnar. You gotta go through this. You gotta do that. You
hmm
gotta go through the Rock. You gotta do so much just to be like, yeah, okay. Okay,
for sure.
Cody. We get it. You deserve this title. So again, not everybody from WWE should just walk into AEW and get get the keys handed to them. That's all I'm
Absolutely.
saying. So, not to say that he needs to like look bad and take losses every week, but hey, there's a pathway the same way that we have Swerve and MJF just sitting in the back burner somewhere, knowing that that's down the road somewhere. We know that there's gonna be Osprey, Ricochet. So
Yeah,
we'll get to it when we get to it.
yeah.
Um, I'll let you go because then I will kind of tee you up for your first Reggie.
Oh, I was just gonna
Yeah,
mention you brought up Swerve. I was gonna segue to him, just that segment. If that's
yeah,
all
go
right.
ahead. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Just him confronting Hangman, I thought was good enough. I mean, we already know that's like the most bloodthirsty rivalry in AEW, and we got a announcement for a steel cage match at All Out. So
yeah,
this would be like, I think this is officially like, this would be Swerve Hangman 4, I think officially. But as far as pay per view goes, it's only been 2 because the last one
yeah,
was like their Texas, death match or whatever when they was drinking blood and shit. It was crazy. But since it's steel cage, I mean, I like how, I mean, Swerve is so fucking good on the mic. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's, I mean, this is about to be so stupid. I was gonna say, I feel like he's a rapper. He is a rapper. I'm slow,
Mhm.
like just turning your bar against you. You know what I mean? Like Hangman complaining about like needing to keep people out and stuff like that. And Swerve is like, oh yeah, you want to keep people out? Like, how about we lock them out and we lock us in and we have a steel cage match? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm for that. You know what I'm saying? So I literally don't need to hear from either one of them like until that match comes. Like they're wrestling. They're one of the rivalries. I think their wrestling tells a story. I don't need to actually hear them say nothing. Although Hangman is absolutely valid anytime he wants to bring up Swerve breaking in his house and cutting a promo over his baby. So like that's just valid. If he wants to be mad at that forever, then he can be, in my opinion.
I have this in my shake just for the simple fact that like I just hope it's done after All Out.
Oh no.
Hangman's got to get over it, man. I'm tired of this.
I think Hangman's gonna win it. I think I mean we're not in all out predictions yet. That's
Yeah.
knee jerk reaction, but we ain't talk about that right now. We ain't on
Again,
that week.
for the very casual, not even casual. I'm not even going to grace myself with that integrity. Just the light viewer, the extremely light viewer of AEW. I'm like, are we still doing with this? Like, this is just like, oh my gosh, like this is just an annoying white man just bothering a black man.
Yeah.
At this point, man, it's just like a reminder that the white man will always be there to drag the black man down.
I mean, he is cowboy shit. That man from Texas. I don't know if they too fond of us out there. They
Virginia.
might be, but
He is from Virginia.
is he? Well, there we go.
He is from
Hey, we
Virginia.
got. Wait, is there Virginian cowboys? I guess we got to have some, right? There's somebody
Pretty
out here
sure Adam
ranching.
Hangman Page is he was a teacher in Virginia. I'm pretty sure like in like
Awesome.
Suffolk.
Okay. Well, I think of cowboy shit. I don't think of Virginia, so I just assume
Halifax.
Texas.
Halifax.
Halifax. All right. All right. Crib. Partial crib.
He went to Virginia Tech.
There you go. All right. Hokey. But
So
yeah, that's all I had for that. I mean, I'll say this last thing. I know you say you hope it's over. I think they're gonna do this as like Rock Austin,
yeah.
like just because even since their last encounter, like this will be their only their first match. Yeah, this will be their first match since that like Texas Death Match. I'm pretty sure. So, and that was before Swerve even won the title. So that was like 8 months ago, 7 months ago, something like that. So I think as long as you parse it out enough, it's fine. But like, I guess for you, you're like, eh. I guess it's such a prevalent rivalry, you don't need to be reminded of it so much.
Yeah.
But
Or I guess like again, like when you say Rock and Austin, I'm like, yeah, but the Rock and Austin was always about like who was the best. And like it started with the Intercontinental Championship kind of like rivalry, and then it graduated to like their championship rivalry. And so it's like the personalness never really was like as personal as they make it out to be on the Swerve and Hangman side.
yeah,
Like
I will
that
say
is
it
just
did.
more of like it's like because Hangman was like, you don't deserve to be champion and this, that, and the third. And it's like so it's like
Mhm.
it's always been like on a very personal level. While like
Yeah,
The Rock and Austin always felt like it was professional and just like, because they all wanted to be the champion, they wanted to be the best.
yeah,
And, eventually like it never really felt personal. It never really
yeah.
felt personal.
Because the way I would read it is that Hangman, obviously, Swerve cost him the title shot. Swerve won that title off of that match. And then they're back even now because Hangman, the way Swerve sees it, he just cut his promo. He cost him the title.
Yeah.
So, or his interference did. So, and before that, they kind of, I'll still stay with the Rock and Austin because they low key started off like that. Their first two matches, like which was just on television, they didn't beat each other, and then it took the third one, which being that death match when they were cutting promos and crazy shit, to take it to that level. But either way, we even cooked that up too much of an explanation. I think I'm good with that. I just said I want to say one more thing. Um,
I I'll tee you up for your Reggie since
yeah, go ahead.
I had Moxley returning as my mid. Um I thought it was interesting. I like that he came out with non-licensed music. I don't know if
Mm.
that's a new thing. Did he drop Wild Thing before it?
No, that's his New Japan music that he came out
Okay.
to. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
just a different theme song he uses.
I was like, okay. I was like, oh, okay, maybe Wild Thing license was just too much to pay for.
Yeah, right.
But I liked it. Quick promo, nice, sweet, short, new hairdo and everything. Obviously, he left with like, "This is not your company anymore," and that made me think, like many others, is this a Shane O'Mac tease? Um, and then some other people, like I think on the Masked Man, they were talking about maybe this is like a new evolution of Blackpool Combat Club. So
Mm,
who knows what it may be, but I think I'm glad that John Moxley is back. Because I think the same complaints that I was having last week about like, one-dimensional emotion, I think he brings a little bit of variety.
yeah.
Even though I do think like at least the way he came back last night on Wednesday, if he's more tempered like that,
Hmm.
I'm for it. If he goes back to his like old Dean Ambrose lunatic fringe, even like the John Moxley like that we've known, I'm like, all right, like that's cool for every once in a while, but like to be like the entire gimmick, I'm like, all right, that's just everybody else at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
I mean,
But you're
obviously,
not.
oh, yeah, well, no, obviously, I'm a fan of Mox. It's literally just the return itself to me that didn't make. It's literally the line of like, "This isn't your company anymore," and like you filled in the blanks for me just now. That I guess that was the Shane O'Mac tease. I didn't realize that, but that's where I was like,
I'm
when
just
I
throwing
didn't.
I'm throwing guesses. I don't know if it's Shane O'Mac. That
Oh,
was
okay,
my
you're
thought.
just guessing. Oh, okay,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
just
So
guessing.
yeah, with no context, I don't know what the hell that means. So it's like, because that's like the bar that you drop the mic on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Yeah.
need promo from. Or I guess because obviously this is a story of some type, or you would hope that it is, obviously. But just the way that it sat with me, I'm like, so where have you been? What happened? What? What? Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
lost. You know what I
I thought
mean?
he was
So
gonna come back
if-
Casino Royale, Casino Gauntlet, and that didn't happen. So
I would have agreed. Yeah, because that would have been a way better shout than him coming back here for
mhm.
sure. So I think it's in the conjunction of the things where it's like literally the 2 days later, or you couldn't have had him here, 3 days before, like had him come back. So I just thought that was stupid as hell. But since I'm in Reggie right now, I'll get to my other one. But
Yeah,
this is honestly, I know I wrote it in here as booking both of the women's championships on the same night. So this is really for Tony, like more than anything, that we get a whole segment with Mercedes Monet and like the backstage area, and she's partying with Camille, having her championship celebration with the elite and everything, and private party hit on her and stuff. And Okada says, or teaches her how to say goodbye in Japanese and says "sayonara, bitches," since that's his catchphrase or whatever. But then to also have Mariah come out just to say, "Oh, my championship celebration is canceled." Just don't have her on TV. Just don't have her there. Like, she's the champion. I agree with this across all wrestling. If you're a champion, you get extra days off. That's just the way that it is. It's
yeah,
like, we know who you are. I think a champion, I mean, they don't have to do it this way. Obviously, we love to see a champion on TV every week, but if you make people earn the champion's fucking attention, that's even a simpler way to build a story. You know what I'm saying? You got to catch the champion while they're here. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was a waste of Mariah's time, and that's why I put it in Reggie more than anything, because I was like, why would you even have her here? Like, or if anything, wouldn't you have the AEW Women's Champion, since that's the name of your freaking company? She would be the one who would get the segment. So either way, to me, it's like unexplainable. Like, because if you were to pick one of those women, I'm picking Mariah. We just made the star, put the star on the show.
yeah.
We know
Uh,
Mercedes already. She can sit a week. Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, no. I mean, I didn't have this really anywhere on my card, but I mean, just to kind of speak to my thoughts. Yeah, it was kind of what I was kind of alluding to when we were talking about All In, and I was like, okay, like the match itself. and everything from the actual match contained to All In, I liked. This
Yeah,
I wasn't that much of a fan of because I'm like, if this is the first thing that I see of the new champion that took down Tony
trash,
Storm, and like, yeah, this is not a good look. I'm
trash.
not gonna
Because
put it in. I'm not gonna put it in Reggie that quickly yet, but this is where I was like putting something up in presidential. I'm like, yo, that's you got to be set in stone. Like, oh, we reached the pinnacle of this thing. That's what I'm saying. So like, this is where I was like, we got to see how things play out. But like, Tony, her winning the match, fine, win the match, win the title. But this as your first outlook from that, it almost feels very Mercedes Monet when she won her belt, and it was just like every week was just like, oh, we're gonna have a celebration, a title
hmm
celebration. It's like I'm tired of these title celebrations
yeah,
on everybody. WWE, NXT, AEW, TNA. I don't care.
yeah,
Let it be a little bit more significant than just everyone who wins the title gets a celebration.
yeah.
It's a little annoying. So not quite there on Reggie there, but I understand because it
Like I
wasn't
said,
it wasn't that
not the
good.
storyline, not the storylines at all. Just the decision to put them both there. Where, like I said, immediately they come into conflict. Obviously,
Yeah.
because we know women wrestlers are put in a different category as far as like TV time. They just are still across all companies. So it's egregious. It's just the booking of it, not the segments themselves. I enjoyed the Private Party and Mercedes segment backstage. I was just more than disappointed just to see Mariah May come out and do the most tired 80s local city heel heat.
Yep.
I'm not that's it. That
Yep.
so yeah, nothing on the
Uh
characters, just what happened. But yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll let you finish it off with your shake.
Yeah, very short. Jamie Hayter returned. She actually did return at on the pre-show to All In, which I didn't realize. But yeah, she had her first match on Dynamite, also came up victorious. But she's a fan favorite. You know, she was women's champion, I think, for 6 months, and up until that point was the longest reigning, I believe. So,
Yeah.
and she's outside the box. You know what I'm saying? Originally, when she was champion, she was part of the Outcast, like Soraya's like squad. They kind of adopted her and stuff. And now, like, she's clearly changed her character up. You know, now she's all like highlighter colored over herself. You know, basically like with her outfit and
Yeah, I
everything.
saw she was getting compared to
So,
Becky Lynch when she came back.
okay, yeah, I can see
But
that. I can see that. But
there were
yeah,
some similarities.
Yeah, she was out for a long time with injury. But glad to see her back. That's all I had. So
Seems like she's gonna be in a feud with Soraya. Is
yeah,
that what
I
happened?
can see that. I mean, because Saraya hasn't been doing nothing either. Like, I mean, except for like, you know, when she came into contact with Tony Storm, she did challenge her for the title, but Saraya's kind of on the not quite the back burner, but I don't know. Yeah, she's mid card AEW, I guess.
Yeah.
That's my
Yes,
thought. That's where she
I
slotted
heard
in my
about
head.
her contract coming up. So
Mm,
either way, anything else from the coffee shop? Any
uh,
AEW Dynamite? All
that
right.
is all.
Let's move over to Thursday, and we got some stuff to get through before we even get to these these preview and predictions. So let's gotta hurry up. Let's hurry
Yep.
up. What did you learn?
Yeah, mine is Jack Perry made his TNT title belt, which I thought that was cool. I found a clip of this on YouTube of him actually, you know, smelting like aluminum or whatever metal that it's made out of. You know, putting it in the packer and all that shit, you know, grinding it down, and then the last little bit, he just, you know, takes it out of the sand and, you know, splashes some red paint on it, and that's the title that we're seeing that he's wearing. So I just thought that was cool that he made it himself. So, and he was making it with his shirt off because, you know, white boys be crazy. Of course, you want to work with a smelter with your shirt off, I guess. But
I
it was
guess it's
cool
better
though.
than having like cotton, right? Because then like you never know that gets on your clothes and then you burn yourself
Again,
bad. So,
that is wild if that's like actual safety. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
I understand not wanting polyester or something to melt to your skin. You know,
Right.
so that would be awful. But yeah, that's what I learned this
Um.
week.
All right. I'm not gonna play the music just for time's sake, so I'm gonna quickly go through our book of wrestling, and talk about what happened this week on wrestling. And we have 3 events and a lot of firsts. The first one, well, I'll start off just in chronological order, I believe, as far as we'll go date order. First one to
Okay.
happen, August 27, 2000. We talked about it earlier when we talked about the Trios ladder match, but this was the first ever TLC match ever to happen, and it happened at SummerSlam 2000. Uh, Took place at this year's at SummerSlam in 2000. It was a triple threat match with Edge and Christian defeating the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys to retain their tag team titles. So Edge and Christian won both the first and second TLC title matches. So shout out to just an all-time legendary match that still gets used today.
Absolutely.
Second thing that happened this week, October, I keep saying October, August 29th, 1992. And this kind of connects to where we just came from in Wembley and All In. But SummerSlam was in Wembley Stadium, is the first ever non-North American WWE PLE. So a little bit of connective tissue, like I said. All In was
Yeah.
in Wembley. We are in Berlin this week for Bash in Berlin. So, just international things going on. And now we're talking about the first ever WWE WWF PLE pay-per-view. Says this year's SummerSlam was the first of any WWF pay-per-view being held outside North America, and it took place at Wembley Stadium in front of just 80,000 fans. At a time, the crowd was the largest legitimate attendance for any professional wrestling event in history. In the main event, England's own British Bulldog won the Intercontinental Championship from his brother-in-law, Bret the Hitman Hart, in one of the greatest matches in company history, and the match Hart cites as the best of his career. And I probably cites the best of his career because we come to find out later that British Bulldog was super on drugs and on cocaine and was not in the capacity to wrestle at all. But somehow, because Bret is the best of the best, was able to guide Bret Bulldog through that match and help him win that match and make him look good. So shout out to
That
that match and
yeah,
Wembley and everything that happened.
legendary. I mean, immediately just hearing you saying like the booger sugar was involved, it makes me want to watch the match again with new eyes. Like, because obviously
Oh,
I've
you
been
didn't
watching
know
it
that?
forever.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bulldog was he was went on a binger the night before, just partying, drugs,
Mm.
cocaine, alcohol, and then like I'll find the clip from you. I think it was on Pritchard, but like I'll find the clip of Pritchard talking about this match and how Bulldog just was like, I can't do it.
Mm.
I can't do it. He was telling Bret in the ring, I can't do it.
Couldn't
And Bret
believe
was like,
you.
I'll let
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
like
Sorry.
I'll he's like Brett was like, I got you, and then they did what they did.
That's wild. I was just thinking, I was like, yo, it's got to be crazy because he's like, man, he just went back home for the first time with the company and he just fell right into the soccer hooligan shit again. Like the boys was back around. They was down at the pub, like, hey, bring old Betsy over here. Hey, here, tell I'm back in town. Like some shit like that, bruh. He had a fucking night. That's what I think happened. It was like, oh shit, I'm getting paid to come back to the crib.
And they were doing all these roids and everything, especially Bulldog. So again,
Right.
somehow Brett was the ultimate professional to be able to do that. Finally, this week, I thought I had another one in here. I'm missing one here. I could have sworn there was a fourth one in here. It happened in 1983. I gotta check this out, but we have a third one. August 31st, 2019, second ever AEW pay-per-view All Out happened. I'll let you read this as I find out what I am missing from my thing.
Oh yeah, the second AEW pay-per-view event, All Out, came to us from Sears Center, Chicago. On the pre-show, Nyla Rose won the 21 Women's Casino Battle Royale to become the number one contender for the Women's World Championship. The main event was Chris Jericho, who defeated Hangman Page to become the first ever AEW World Champion, which meant that Jericho would go down as the first person in history to have world championships in WWE, WCW, and AEW. Little blurb you had out there for me.
That that last sentence I had to take a bit of an issue with because I
Yeah.
don't know how to correctly write it, but Jericho never won the WCW championship in WCW.
Yeah. Okay. Just winning championships in the he was like cruiserweight
He
champion
won
and
the
like well
WCW championship, but that was at when he was in WWE and
yeah.
after everything was bought and everything. So like, if you look by like technicality, Jericho never won the WCW championship while in WCW.
Yeah.
Just being just being technical.
Yeah.
I could have sworn this was a fun fact that I had on here. I don't know why I can't find it right now, but I'm pretty sure it happened in 1983, and it was Terry Funk's first retirement. Did we talk about that last week? No, we didn't. I
No, we
could
did
have
not.
I gotta find this date because as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is definitely something we need to talk about. Because you talked about um who you saying like had the retirement match recently? Daniel Bryan. I guess
Daniel Bryan,
somebody
yeah.
else was like somebody else had a long history of retirement matches.
Oh yeah, like freaking Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Because he did one
You
in
said
like
you said
just a
somebody
few
else.
years ago.
Yeah, you said
Yeah.
somebody else, I believe, but
Um, who else? I definitely flew this off the top of my head beforehand when we talked about it before.
that's what it was. It's actually August 31st, 1983. Terry Funk retires for the first time. He would repeat this claim numerous times in the future decades.
Brett Favre. Obviously, I know it's not wrestling, but
You need
not
to go
wanting to
back and
retire
you need to,
as
that's why I know you don't watch these clips. I know you don't watch our episodes back because you don't remember anything. Such a shame.
yeah, it is.
Let's
Self-conscious. I'm self-conscious about my voice, bro. When I hear it, it's like hearing yourself on a on an answer machine. That's all. I still watch the clips though,
consider it watching tape. Consider it watching tape.
for sure.
Be like, oh yeah, like this is where I can get better at. But let's move on to Friday. We got a lot to get through. So um I have two quick things I wanted to talk about before we get into SmackDown.
Mhm.
Mercedes Monet was on the local sports radio show here in DC. The Sports Junkies. They're four idiots. Um, they're like 50-year-old white men. Well, one of them is like half Puerto Rican and half like Italian, but he's pretty much a white guy. Um, it wasn't that bad. I heard it on the radio this morning when I was waking up, but then I saw the video clip. It was a pretty good visit. It was a good visit. She was there to promote like I said, Capital Collision happened. It's probably over. It's definitely over by now. It happened on Friday here in DC at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. So she was there for a lot of promo. But these guys are not familiar with wrestling. They were saying like, "Oh, do you know this song?" And they played Ray J's "I Hit It First." And she says she didn't know it, which I highly doubt. Like I think she was just playing dumb, just because she's like, "Yes, of course I know this song."
Yeah.
But overall, it was fun. She seemed to have a pretty good time, and like seeing it in video, it was like she didn't seem annoyed by the four idiots in the room.
I was literally about to say the four idiots, if that's how you
Yeah,
described them.
yeah. But overall, it was pretty fun. The other
That's
thing I
cool.
wanted to bring up was I saw this clip earlier today. HBCU, I think it's Morgan State, playing Cody Rhodes' theme song,
Yeah, I
and
played the clip. I thought it was cool.
yeah, it's definitely cool. They killed it. I'm just bringing this back just to continue the juju. But
Yeah.
it's just continuing the juju. I don't know why my camera is bugging out right now. But like we said, the disappointment when Cody Rhodes turned heel.
On
That's
the
more
black
to have
community.
on a black community. This is gonna make black people reevaluate the cookout. They're like, we really messed up. We really messed up. They could
And
be
Trick got to be the one up there because he
these
invited
people
him.
at Morgan State. These people at Morgan State are gonna be so disappointed in themselves that they even thought about playing Cody Rhodes music at an HBCU. They are gonna be so pissed when Cody Rhodes goes on his Hulk Hogan rant.
Right? Acting like they don't know he's from Georgia.
Like, oh my god, just wait. So I bring that up just to keep the juju and spread it into the ether continuously, because that day will come, and let it be known the Wrestling Re-Up said it to you first. On to SmackDown. Let's get to the boutique. It is the last show before the go home. This was pretty good for the most part. I didn't have anything filled out here yet because it literally just finished a couple hours ago, but I think we could talk about this off the cuff. I'll bring it up on the Bleacher Report just real quick, but I'll let you start off.
Just immediately thinking, I was like, it felt like a very mid show to me, just like similar to Dynamite. Not bad, just a go home. You know what I'm saying? We're going into Bash in Berlin, so definitely the best thing on the show is, in my opinion, was Nia Jax defeating Michin in the street fight. Like, when Nia turns up the viciousness and she's the unstoppable force, bruh, get out of her fucking way. Just the sequence of the finish going from, Samoan drop through a table into a trash can covering Michin Annihilator. I was like, yep, that'll do it. And also, at least giving us another wrinkle, or not another wrinkle, the same wrinkle of, Tiffany halfway deciding, oh, am I about to do this? So I like that. That would be the one primo thing if I had any primo. But definitely the best thing on the show for me.
Yeah, I'd give that. I'd probably put it mid-rising because, again, I think a lot of it's expected, but I think, again, just giving them a good match, and then, again, Michin still coming out looking good. Again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the mid-card's woman title comes in, because I think Michin is definitely a strong contender as well. Along with Naomi, like we talked about last week, about being someone that could be a true contender to actually hold that title. So I like that as well. I'd probably put that at mid-rising, probably would be primo, just by standard of everything else. Like, if I had to pick a primo, it probably would be primo. Outside of that, maybe Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. So they're tied up 2-2 now. Coming out of their feud. So
I didn't even realize that match happened because I was watching the clips on YouTube. So yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Carmelo Hayes beat Andrade, so now it's tied up 2-2, and it was with a clean pin. So
those guys can work.
They obviously they're not going to do anything anytime soon, but maybe we get something that bad blood between them.
Yeah, I mean,
the fifth match is definitely going to be game 5, or is it game 5 or is it game 7? Is it a best of 5 or is it a best of 7?
I was gonna say you should make the last match, Bad Blood, a 2 out of 3 falls match, and then we can get a game 7. That's what it'll be. We can go a 7-match series, and we make it a 2 out of 3 falls match. So it's game 7 either way, as far as the analogy goes. Like, let's call it game 7.
I'll put that up in primo as well. They've just been knocking out the park. That's a really good combination. But
yeah, that's an example of, like I said, literally just the matches themselves. Like, I mean, obviously we've gotten segments and like Carmelo in the barbershop and Andrade talking backstage and stuff, but like literally you can follow this story just by looking at the matches, and it's been A1. Like, those guys are great dancing partners for real.
It'd be interesting to see Charlotte somehow get involved.
Yeah.
And that gets Kalani involved. And then Charlotte steals Kalani's title. And then that kind of gets into like a Andrade and Charlotte, versus Carmelo and Kalani. But
I'm here for it. When I will say, the other thought that came to me just as far as Carmelo and Andrade is like, remember that's how the bar was started. Like Sheamus and Cesaro, like that started
Yeah.
off as like this exact thing where they were just hitting the shit out of each other, great rivalry, and then that's what made them bond. I don't see that, but that's just a parallel that I want to take.
That's a good parallel to call back on.
That's just a
You never
parallel.
know. You never
Yeah,
know. It could happen like that.
maybe. So
Um, I'll call out another mid. Baron Corbin and Apollo Cruz versus Alberto Del Rio and not Alberto Del Rio, Alberto Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza.
mhm.
Again, nice to see again Cruz and Baron Corbin actually seem like they're trying to be a tag team. Baron Corbin feeling like he's got some, rejuvenation in him, doing some moves out of his bag that like he hasn't done before, he hasn't done in a while. Um, they lost, but again, I think it might be something there. There might be something with that tag team.
I mean, I'm all for like a Franken team, but it just you have to know that a Franken team just takes longer to get over. You know what I mean? Like Nathan Frazier and Axiom, that's like the most recent example. Like I'm a huge fan of them
Yeah.
because we're so used to tag teams having matching gear and all this stuff, and they're inseparable and all that stuff. And it's like it's okay to just have two guys that just work together. You know what I mean? But it's like, hey, we're good in this division because we work together. So I'd like to, yeah. I don't know if I would want to see more of that. I wonder. I want to see that progress, but I don't know what step I would want them to take next, other than a match. Like how, like what's the story? Here. I think that's all you need. You just need a story beat for them to grab a hold of, because there's no doubt in the tag team.
What did you think of Ludwig Kaiser in LA Knight?
I mean, he got the pop of his career right then. Being a hometown boy. But once again, we knew he wasn't winning that. He wasn't winning that. So it was just for him to get the hometown pop. But he's great on the mic. I'm glad every time we see Ludwig, because he's not on TV enough, honestly. Or he was.
He's getting back in there. Like I said, he was
Yeah,
hurt, so he's coming back and getting more credit onto his name.
yeah,
So it's nice to see him get that pop again. No, he wasn't gonna win, but it looked good. I'm curious to see if there's any repercussions that come out of him losing, and if like I'm still curious to see like what's that relationship between him and Gunther.
yeah.
Or like is like is because now this is 2 weeks in a row he's lost. He lost to Randy Orton and he lost to LA Knight.
It's not a
So
good look. Not a
if
good
Gunther
look.
ends up winning, I can't imagine Gunther not chastising.
Yeah.
So um
That's all I have.
anything
No, that's
yeah,
all I have for SmackDown, though.
nothing else. Yeah, I think that's all I had for SmackDown as well. I'm getting the Bash and Berlin card set up, but do you want to start some dialogue as I get things cleaned up?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, man. This Bash in Berlin. Oh, geez. This is. Well, yeah, the first or no, yeah, the first German pay per view they've done. Right, I think that's the tagline they're using. So yeah, that's cool.
I don't know if it's a tagline, but it's a
Or not the
fact.
tagline, but yeah, that's the dumb thing for me to say. But just little key information, I guess, that they keep putting out there. But I did watch the or part of the press, like the not the pre-show, but the press conference, like having the Terror Twins out there. I really like that. The second Gunther came out there, it's like, bro, there's no way. Like it just immediately, like the response of that, I was like, Brandy, like you're getting at least 3 or 4 of these power bombs. Like that's happening already. Um, what do you think you're looking forward to the most on that card?
Um, it seems a pretty predictable card. I guess I would have to be Randy Gunther.
Yeah,
Because even Kevin, like, I guess the Kevin aspect would be just like, do I think someone's gonna turn? But I guess like Randy, I guess there's a little bit of odds. Like it's Randy, you know what I'm saying? Like I could see Randy winning the title. Gunther needs some type of adversity to begin with. So I mean, that's
yeah,
kind of like I think there is a slim chance, but if anybody could do it, it's Randy.
for sure.
'Cause,
You're talking about the vet of old vets that's on the roster right now, for sure.
you know, it takes an RKO out of nowhere to kind of end it. But I mean, let's get into the card. I mean, I'm just about finishing adding all the matches in, so we could start off at the top of the card.
Sure thing. Let's go to
You don't have the Notion doc open.
the top of the card. All right. I got it pulled up on WWE right now, so I can just talk through it anyway.
Notion doc. Just go into the Notion doc because you're gonna have to put your record in.
Oh yeah, I'm on the Notion doc. But Cody and Kevin Owens. Cody's winning this.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think it's a pretty predictable card. I'm gonna go with Cody as well. I guess the biggest question is, do you think Kevin Owens turns?
Yeah. I will say, I mean, we didn't mention we did, or I'll say I dropped the ball right there on SmackDown. We didn't mention they did have a promo. I didn't like the promo
And
necessarily.
it
He
just
was
said,
talking about her.
Cody's hurt, and it's like it's no different than what Shinsuke said to Seth Rollins, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I didn't like it exactly. I was just like, y'all are just trying to build some credibility into this when we know Cody's winning. That's all that was. That's all that line is there for. Next up. Oh yeah, we already agree. Gunther's beating Randy. That's for sure. We're locked in on that. I mean, you did say there's a possibility. I mean,
I have Unholy Union versus Bianca Belair and Jade.
our girls got to get it back. That's for sure. I'm gonna be going with the Power Buff girls, Bianca and Jade.
Yeah, that's the name you gave him last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said I don't disagree. I think we might have a tie this week unless somebody just goes.
Yeah.
Just with the creative decision. Like I said, it just seems like I like Unholy Union. I'd be interested to see if there was some alliance that they made. I mean, they have Blair Davenport, but it's like, is Blair Davenport going to be the X factor in this? Because maybe Naomi is going to come and negate her out. So it's like at that point, then you're just left with Jade and Bianca, and it's like, okay, it seems like they're going to be two-time women's champion, tag team champions. So I'm going to go with the obvious. I'm not going to play any games.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you answered your own question with the whole Blair Davenport thing because I was gonna be like, yep, well, they got Naomi in their back pocket, so it's like.
I said my thing is like they need Unholy Union. I'd like to see them being paired up with Rhea.
With Rhea, okay.
That's the real Unholy Union.
Yeah,
Rhea with them too.
They got the aesthetic for sure, like all the Dark Sister type witchy shit, know. And Rhea's not witchy; she just got a whole bunch of tattoos, and it's like a goth hottie, basically.
Yeah. Match number 3: Terror Twins versus the Judgment Day, and that's Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan versus Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley.
Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley win this. I don't think I should have paused on that as long as I did because I'm like, Liv can take a pinfall loss. You know what I'm saying? That's what's gonna set up another match. Like if they wanted to do it that way. But I think that just basically like pushing the ball of annoyance, like of old Judgment Day with new Judgment Day, is not tired, but like just very repetitive. You know what I mean? So I just think it needs to move along, especially like with the women's title. That's the only thing that I had an issue with like the whole Liv and Rhea thing being intertwined with Judgment Day, is that I felt like it took away from the women's title a lot because she only like defended it once or twice. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think they'll need to get the win. They've been getting jumped and stuff. The Terror Twins, they'll come out on top.
I'm gonna be different, and I'm gonna give it to the Judgment Day.
All
I
right.
think maybe get some shenanigans, maybe a returning Alexa Bliss kind of messes with Rhea Ripley for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why Alexa Bliss was written off the first time. I know she had a baby, but like I forget. I don't know if she was injured or not, and like if Rhea Ripley was the cause of that. But maybe that's the case. Maybe there's somebody that has beef with Damian Priest.
New
Like,
challenger appears. Yeah.
yeah, like I think this is something that I think they're gonna milk the Rhea Ripley getting revenge on Dominic. It's just a little too soon to get revenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where if I have to find anywhere something unpredictable, I would say that would be my unpredictable, and I will go with Judgment Day.
What's the last part? You went quiet. You said you had any one
I said
prediction?
if I had any prediction out of the 5 to go be like unpredictable,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go with that match. So
Absolutely, because it's also a tag match, intersex tag match. So
yeah.
it's like there's no like stakes on it unless Rhea pins Liv, and then
I
it's
can
like
see
okay,
like Rhea hitting Dom with the Riptide and then
yeah,
going for the pin, but the ref is like, I can't count the pin. You have to be going against Liv. And then Liv
yeah,
comes out of nowhere, hits her finisher, and knocks out Rhea, and then gets the 1, 2, 3.
yeah. Like right as like Rhea thinks she's got it all wrapped up, and she got her moment. Fuck
Yeah.
this guy. Like damn, these fucking
I,
rules.
I, I gotta pin Liv. I gotta pin Liv. I can't pin Dominic. So maybe
Yeah,
that just gets us like a Dominic versus Rhea Ripley bad blood match.
please, please. And we know who's winning that. That's for sure. Like Rhea's gonna beat his ass if that happens. Like that is a fact.
Um, let's move on to the CM Punk Drew McIntyre best of
Yeah.
3. How many times are we gonna run the block on this?
They don't make
Tied,
it to.
they're
They
tied
don't run.
1-1. So this is
Yeah,
the third match.
I was gonna say Survivor Series at like the latest. That would be a year of him coming back. I don't know. I'm just picking it up for time because I
So
don't think it definitely is not going to WrestleMania. I don't think that goes to. They'll both
for
have
any
some.
match that deserves to be a bad blood, this is definitely a bad blood match. So
True.
CM Punk, Drew McIntyre in a strap match.
Who you got? Like,
I'm going to say CM Punk. I
yeah.
I see. I went with CM Punk last time, but again, like, I, why are they still beefing?
They hate each other. This is just hate now.
I
That's
guess,
all it is.
yeah, I guess. But I'm trying to figure out like, okay, is Drew gonna get a CM Punk? He got his bracelet back. No, he didn't get his bracelet back. He didn't.
No.
CM Punk. So
So that's what it's about. That's what it's in kayfabe. It's about. It's about that bracelet. So
the fact this is their third match and there's bad blood in a month, it's like,
yeah.
how does this work if there's a fourth match? If the fourth match is just gonna keep it back to a split.
I guess we got to ignore. We can't ignore SummerSlam because that's the match when it starts. That's when they come to blows for the first time. So you can't ignore that. That's for sure.
No one's ignoring thing. I'm saying this is their second match. This is their
Yeah,
third match that's coming up.
I know. I'm trying to work with your premise of like I don't know how you get out of it because there's no way for you to like build. There's no other pay-per-view in that way either way, and you can't. You already giving a stipulation. I guess if you were to like factor anyone out, I guess it would be this one, just because it's the overseas, like earlier show.
Yeah.
And Bad Blood is actually making a return. So I would guess that maybe the Bad Blood match is more significant, and then they blow it off,
I'll go
if you
CM
were to
Punk.
take it more.
I'll go CM Punk, but then this is again another coin flip toss. But I'll go Punk.
I feel the same way. And for the sake of well, no, Drew can't win because if he wins, that's him beating him twice in a row. God damn.
He said, "You got who you got? You got to come up with one more. You got to figure it out. We still got."
Like you said, it's hard.
You going Punk?
Yeah. It just doesn't, like you said, you need to have a rubber match in order for it to make sense. I'm just going against logic for me to pick Drew again. But that is Bash in Berlin, people.
We officially say Gunther is going to win?
Yeah, I am, for sure.
Yeah.
What
are your percentage that you think Randy would win?
33%. I'll give him a third. I think it's a 2-1 betting odds.
Okay.
That sounds crazy disrespectful though, because obviously we're talking about Randy freaking Orton. If you just think about that 1/3 chance is Randy Orton, a 14-time champion. That sounds nuts.
I'll go 45.
Yeah.
Because again, like I think, maybe we might see a desperate Randy Orton come through. Maybe not quite yet, but again, like Randy has too much history. Like, he's like Tom Brady at this point. Like he's seen everything.
Absolutely.
So it's more of like okay, Gunther, you're young and you're the hot shot right now, but like how you gonna go with the old wily vet that's done everything? Like we talk about with these playoffs, it's like at some point it comes down to been there, done that. And Randy is at this point the ultimate been there, done that. That's outside of maybe like Rey Mysterio.
Right.
That has done it. So that's active right now. So in the WWE. So.
Like you said, if he taps into that old Randy that we know, then I can picture how he wins. So he's gonna get a punt to the head. That's how he'll win. That RKO ain't gonna take Gunther out. Maybe. I don't know. But that would be savage though. If he pulls the punt out, I'd be like, when we're watching that tomorrow, I will believe every bit of that, 3 count as the ref is counting. Like if he hits an RKO once, he kicks out and he hits that punt lastly, I'll be like, oh shit.
All right. That is it for Bash in Berlin. Now let's get to the other pay-per-view PLE pop-up show that is happening this week. That is also NXT No Mercy. I'm adding matches as we speak, but
yeah.
What do you have for this? What are your anticipation for this card?
This is easy. This is so easy. My most highly anticipated is North American Championship, Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo. Like for sure. I know I said that last week is like, yo, these two guys, and we want to talk about, that team AEW, team TNA, like, and they're fucking hosses. Like they can as big as Obafemi is, Tony D'Angelo can pick him up and move him around. And it's like, bruh. Like that, they about to be hitting the shit out of each other. I already know it. So, honestly, I think the only question of like Oba Femi losing his title is like how soon do they want to call him up? You know what I mean? Because even now, I wouldn't choose Tony D'Angelo. I think he has a better chance than like Randy Orton versus Gunther because they're both on, the rise. We ain't talking about a legend and a new hot shot. These are both guys that are both hot shots right now and in their young prime. So that's my most highly anticipated. I'm gonna guess that you were gonna say the same thing.
Yes, that one as well, and obviously Roxanne Perez and Jada Parker.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that plays out. So, let's start off with the top first match that's listed on the Wikipedia page card is Wesley versus Zachary Wentz. So we are both not feeling Wesley's motivations and feeling it's lacking, but the match itself. Now
I
that
am
we're here,
Yeah, I am not feeling this at all. And I'm gonna say I hope Zach beats his ass. I'm gonna predict Zach wins. Not that I'm a huge Zach fan or nothing. I'm just out on fucking Wesley's explanation, all the whole soliloquy we did earlier. That shit. It's all ass. So Zach Wentz, you beating his ass. That's what's happening right now.
okay. I'm gonna go Wesley. I'm gonna go Wesley. I think there is a difference between like us not obviously believing in Wesley and them trying to get over the story, and I think that this is just part of the heel turn, and it
Yeah,
would make no sense for Wesley to say all the things he says and do, and then end up losing. It's like, what bite do you have after that? So I got to give
yeah,
Wesley the win.
yeah. He just turned heel, literally a month
Yeah.
ago, and I'm already like, nah, bro. Like you can't follow that up with a loss, and it's like, yeah, you proved me right. You can't do that for people like me, because I will come on here and be like, told you. This is
Hey, and I also need to catch up on these pop-up record scores. So this is a chance for me to possibly at least tie it up this week on the record scales. So I'm hoping that me being different in opinions would actually
of
work
course.
out.
Yep, it definitely
Uh,
will affect it.
Next match, Chase U versus Nathan Frazier in Axiom.
Ooh. We'll go with the Chase U retention.
I understand the pause if I am guessing correctly, and the pause that I would have if you asked me that question would have been, is there a turn that's going to happen with Chase U? Are the other two members in Chase U going to turn on Andre Chase and Rich Holland? And
I
kind of
would,
like I said, like they feel that like they should have had the opportunity to fight for the tag team championships, and that
mm,
Rich Holland kind of threw himself in there with Andre and at the expense of the other two.
yeah,
And
okay.
so um that's where I'm curious to see if something like that happens. Um do I think Nathan Frazier and Axiom are ready to go to the main roster? Possibly. I think so, especially if they got the rumored like Lucha, brothers from
Mm.
AEW coming over.
Oh yeah. The Lucha Bros. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Chase U. Even though I said all that, I'm gonna go Chase U just because I think Nathan Frazier and Axiom are probably gonna get called up soon. So this is. I think we're gonna get a tease of the Chase U dissension, but Chase U is gonna retain.
For sure. This next
Kalani,
one,
Wendy
this
Chu.
this is one that I definitely don't have a read on. Uh,
I'm gonna go
it's not that I
Kalani.
want. It's not that I want Kaylani to drop the title or anything, but because you need to establish a reign, right?
Mhm.
The only um, bump in the road would be Rosemary, but I doubt. I mean, we got Joe Hendry in the main event, so it's not like Rosemary can't be there. But would it be as simple as that, as just a Rosemary interference? That's where I don't believe it. You know what I mean? I don't believe a Rosemary interference would cause her to lose, so that's where I'm going, Kaylani also.
I see Kalani as this is a poor example, and maybe a poor example. I see her as like Frodo from like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when she won the title, I'm like, good luck, Kalani, because like the way your character kind of comes off is just like you seem like you're gonna be not overwhelmed, but I guess for lack of a better term, overwhelmed with like the amount of challengers that you're gonna have to face. And like the variety and the difference. And I think it's a good view because it's like it gives you a good variety of like the talent that they have in the
Yeah.
within the NXT roster. And so to go from someone like Sol Ruka to someone to like Wendy Chu to someone like whoever it may be, it's like okay, like Kalani is gonna go through the gauntlet of
Yeah.
like everyone of just trying to defend, and it's gonna be a lot of different variety and everything that like I said, I compare it to Frodo because it's just like Frodo goes on this huge adventure that takes him from point A to point B, and you're just like, all right, yeah, like Kalani has like Frodo has a story, Kalani's gonna have a story after all of this. So,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a straight up match. I think it's gonna be clean. I don't think Rosemary is gonna be interfere. I think this is just gonna be a quick, hey Wendy, you're a good challenger, but Kalani is just that better.
Yeah.
So cruiserweight Bianca here with Kalani.
Yeah. That's a good analogy for sure. Yeah.
Cruiserweight Bianca. Um, we kind of called this match already. I guess you already picked it, but I who do you got? Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo.
See, the only reason that I'm hesitating now is because I'm like, yo, am I expecting us like a championship sweep of retentions? Like that's real boring, you know?
Yeah.
And as I look at this, I'm like, Roxanne has held that for a while. But I mean, I know we're on Oba Femi right now, but that's where I'm stuck. It's just like the logic of like, you got to have at least one title change, right? Just like, just generally, I'm not saying you have to, but I just, maybe you should, right? Because I'm trying to think about this card. And that
If I
would
had
be,
to help you out in your booking right now, if you wanted to have Obafemi lose this, right now you
yeah,
have Zach Wentz beating Wesley. If Wesley loses to Zach Wentz and he cost Obafemi his North American Championship,
mm,
because the reason I go with Obafemi is because I'm like, we did the math a couple weeks ago, like a month or two ago. He's going to become the longest reigning NXT North American champion by like I think Bad Blood,
mm,
if I'm correct, like the day after Bad Blood.
yeah,
And so like, who's the longest reigning North American champion? Wesley. So,
yep,
what would it be like to cement him as a heel to be like, well, I lost to my boy. I look like an idiot. Well,
mm,
let me go cement my name and protect my name in the history books and cost Obafemi the North American Championship so he can't be the longest reigning champion, North
yeah,
American champion. So that's the way I would help you. I'm going Obafemi
yeah,
because I think he's going to break the record, but the way that you've booked it and you want a title change, that's the way I would book it. If you want to go with uh
Tony
Tony
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo.
I'm not, but I think I'm not. But that's where I was like, it's between those, like, because I'm like, is Jada ready for the belt yet? I mean, we're both picked Oba Femi, so we might as well move on. Roxanne and Jada. Is Jada ready for the belt already?
I said it for Jack Perry. I think this is, hey, show us to believe. I think people
Yeah,
are fans of Jada Parker. I think there's like, okay, like, can you, do we see championship
yeah,
in Jada Parker? she don't need to win the show championship.
Yeah, there's one in
So,
there. Yeah, we see it already.
she'll win the North American title before she wins the women's NXT championship.
Yeah,
Roxanne is too nice. I'm going Roxanne Perez. Though again, it would be interesting to see with the switch to CW in a couple weeks. There is something about having like a fresh face as
yeah,
like a champion, I don't know if Jada Parker. I mean, Jada Parker would be interesting to see as like, hey, like who is this person as the champion on this new network for most people that are watching the program. But there is also something to see someone like Roxanne and being
yeah.
like, yeah, like I'm the prodigy.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna go Roxanne.
This is bad.
I can see it seems like it's a rivalry though. This doesn't seem like a one-off. This seems like a
Yeah,
something that they can continue on.
yeah. Jada's not going anywhere, so yeah. I'm gonna go Roxanne or Rapixin. I'll put a fucking P in there.
uh, and let's get into the final match of NXT No Mercy.
All right,
Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry for the NXT Championship.
this comes down to if we believe your booking of Joe Hendry walking out of NXT with the title.
I believe. I'm booking it. Joe Hendry steals the belt
And that's
and takes it back to TNA. Joe Hendry, NXT champion. I believe in Joe Hendry.
that's such a fucking hard ass storyline. Just because like
And
this is
it couldn't happen to the best person in Ego Page.
and that's what I'm saying. Like his character would fit that so well. Like I would much rather that happen to Ego. His character could take it, or his character couldn't take it, and that's exactly why we're gonna probably see him TNA in 2 weeks. And I'd be like, and he used to be on TNA, like I told you. So it's not like that's where he started out as far as major American promotions. So, god damn.
This way, right now, if you pick Ethan Page, we would have a potential possibility of a split. Right
Yeah,
now,
I'm not. No, we're gonna have a definitive winner because I'll ride for your booking. We'll have a definitive.
you don't have to. You don't have to. If do you
No,
do you
you're not,
genuinely
bro.
believe
You're
Joe
not
Hendry?
putting any words in my mouth. We
Okay,
talk
just
things out.
making
We know
sure.
how to book. We know how to book, bro. Like I said, we
Okay,
could book the
okay.
company right now. Like that is a good booking. It just is. You said that, like you said 2 weeks ago. Like
Yeah.
I'm
That
like
was my booking. I'm sticking with it. So that is our
that's
predictions.
why I said
I got
it's so hard. That's such a good booking just because of the people involved, which is
yeah.
why it
And
makes it
again,
so
we talk
fucking
about they're going to switch networks in a couple weeks. And
yeah.
if your main storyline is we don't have our belt anymore, and it's with this lunatic,
Yeah.
Joe Hendry,
This
who
night,
says
that's
he's
what Ethan Page is gonna say because I'm like, this guy, like Joe Hendry is so nice to everyone except Ethan Page, but he's all
he's a
ego.
deranged man. He's a deranged man, and he has our belt. We need our belt back.
Yeah,
Telling you, the story's there. Do they have the
for
guts to
sure.
pull it off? I do think they have the guts now to pull it off. So we agree on everything on the NXT card except for Wesley and Zach Wentz. So if that's the first card in the match, then we might be able to figure out what happens.
Just immediately. Yeah, exactly. We're lockstep. That's definitely gonna be the first match. There's no way that it's not. Or they'll probably start off with like, oh, I don't want them to start off with Oba. Start off with the tag team championship, and then Wes and Zach will be probably the bathroom break more than likely.
We'll see. We'll see. But let's wrap this show up. This is the extra long show.
Yeah,
Extra
we
long
got
show. So,
Had to cover a PLE recap or a pop-up shop recap and predict 2 more pop-up shots. That's crazy. Like this is one of those heavy workload weeks.
Yeah, and went through a whole week. That's why we did it Friday night instead of Saturday morning like we usually do it, because we wouldn't have had time to do all this. So
y'all better appreciate us for this out here, fans. It's 2 a.m. over here.
It really is. Let's get into the champions of the week. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Mine is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mine is the Ace Ventura. Put me in, coach. Just give me a chance. Title belt goes to my personal friend, a person you have met over the telephone, Cole Johnson, who is interested for sure.
Hey.
I think we just need to put the battery in his back. I got his email and stuff. So we're in motion.
Let's get him on next week. It's easy. So just figure out the time, and if this time works or Saturday, we'll figure out the time and we'll get our third host and we'll finally be a group.
And then just last on that, because since he's my champion, I'm gonna bust his ass right now. Since the first thing he said, he's like, "Man, bro, I ain't even gonna lie, I haven't been watching wrestling." And I was like, "Nigga, you know that's a goddamn excuse because you understand kayfabe. The second we tell you the storyline of what's happening, you will understand the next 5 dominoes that's gonna fall. You already in. So I don't want to hear none of this shit. You literally get like,
you know, the perspective. That's perspective. That's just a brand new perspective. You're like, hey, I'm just catching up. So
yeah, exactly. And that's what I flipped on him too. So I was like, nah, I don't want to hear that shit.
I'm gonna take my champion of the week back to last. What was that? All In Saturday or Sunday? That was Sunday, right?
Say it again. The what? All In. All In. Yeah, Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. I'm gonna take it back to Sunday, and I'm gonna give out the Michael Corleone. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in title belt to Sting for his return at All In. What is there to say, man? Like they did this whole 2-month, 3-month thing about Sting's retirement match. This is his last match. Oh man, big thing, Sting, all this stuff. They do all this stuff. Darby Allin throws himself off of the top like a 20-foot ladder into some glass. Just to have this dude come back 6 months later. You can't write it, but hey, he's wrestling, man. No one ever really retires.
Yeah. But you know, the wrestling retirement line is like if you get in the match and the bell rings. Because it's like they're never that's the whole thing about wrestling retirements. I mean, shit, it doesn't need to be explained. Like they're always gonna be around the business. They might be out of it, but they're around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, it was nice to see him. It made sense. You know, you're not gonna have your boy Darby Allin get burned up on, you know, after the match. And so it was nice to see him come back. And we'll see if he's back, or if this was just a one-off appearance. If it's one-off, then I can live with it. But, bruh, I thought the paint was gone. I thought you threw it all out. You just couldn't help yourself. They just can't help themselves. People in wrestling just can't help themselves. Whether it be WWE production, whether it be wrestlers not wanting to retire, just can't help themselves. But that is the week in review. Anything else you want to leave off with, Moody, before we head out on this extra long show?
Yeah, I want to tell them to follow us on socials. I see we got 26 followers, bro. I said, what? I ain't been doing no promo. People are actually catching on to this shit. Hold on a second. But you can follow those socials at The Ringer, or I said The Ringer, holy shit. The Wrestling Re-Up. Yeah, that's a bad word. The Wrestling Re-Up on Instagram, The Wrestling Re-Up on Discord, and send us an email at thewrestlingre@gmail.com.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on all this. You know, appreciate to the people that are with us at 3 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
See, we both have brain parts. See,
I saw 3, and then I added an hour to the clock. That just shows you we need to get off and get ready to watch Bash in Berlin in like 8 hours or 10 hours right now. So we'll catch y'all later, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.